Good evening, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Dark Soul Taz here. I'm going to be... hang on, we've got an issue here. What do we got? Twitch followers, read permission is missing. Head to connections, edit Twitch. I will get that done straight away. Let's have a look. Connections, edit Twitch. Allow Lumia to determine who are followers. Perfect. There we go. Connect. Sorry, I'm just connecting my Lumia. Connecting to Twitch. It's getting it to connect. We're doing another keymailer tonight. We're doing one called Vaudeville. Apparently it's a detective story. Don't know much about it. I thought I'd just jump in and give it a go. Let's have a look. I need to authorize it. There we go. Authorize. Open Lumia. Cool. Connection successful. Cool. Now we're right. Now we've got everything we needed to connect. Lumia back to Twitch, which is something that we need to make sure happens. Alright, so we're doing a keymailer. Sorry about that here. Right, so let's play. I'll do this for about an hour. It's part of the keymailer routine, so we'll see how we go.
The second I stepped off the train into the city of Vaudeville, I could feel the weight of its melancholy in the air.
Already.
Even the drizzle that clung to the city's grimy cobblestones felt a shade darker than your everyday downpour. Vaudeville was a city of high stakes and low morals where vice and virtue danced a wicked waltz. Street lamps flickering like burnt-out stars were the only guide through the maze of rain-soaked alleyways and whispering shadows. My name's Martini, detective, troubleshooter, and a lousy sucker for hard-luck stories. This wasn't my first circus, but this act was a three-ring special. 3 murders, no leads, and a city on the brink of bedlam.
3 murders.
The victims were as different as chalk and cheese, each a symbol of the city's vibrant veneer. A young dancer who moved like poetry in motion, her life cut short mid-pirouette. The socialite, a woman who knew the city's pulse better than anyone else. And then there was the businessman, the embodiment of Vaudeville's promises of progress, snuffed out like a candle in the wind. The usual peace in Vaudeville was off kilter, replaced by the discordant notes of fear and suspicion. Strangers viewed each other through wary eyes, neighbors turned to strangers, and every shadow seemed to hold a secret. The once vibrant city had become a stage, the curtain drawn on a grim play of mystery and murder. In a city without harmony, the police chief was the conductor trying to keep the orchestra in tune. Gretzky was his name, a seasoned cop with a granite jaw and a heart that had seen better days. There was a stark tension, a raw fear that danced like St. Elmo's fire in his eyes. Whatever was happening in Vaudeville had Gretzky out of his depth, and that was a sight I'd never thought I'd see. If anyone could make sense of this twisted tale, it would be him. I'd better head to the police station and have a chat with Gretzky for starters.
All right. That seems to be the protocol. Head to the police station, talk to Gretzky, figure out what the hell's going on. We got... Apparently there's 3 murders that have happened, a dancer, a socialite, and a businessman in Vaudeville. Alright, let's have a look. Ray tracing on, 1080p, that's fine. Let's start. How you doing, Kev? And Just Jess, thank you. Just Jessie. Welcome in, man. Or lady. I haven't checked your... sex, gender, just welcome in, doesn't matter. Alright, chief of police. That's a manor, that's groceries. Circus, Saxa bar, country club, cabaret, and a morgue. What have I got in my notebook? Anything? Go to the police station and ask Chief Gretzky about the murders. Okay, cool. What do we got here? Backwards. Back still ruined. Woke up today feeling like absolute garbage. As soon as I put a heat pack on it and take a few of the Voltaren, it's fine. But without them, I'm shit. Anyway, we're going to go to the police station. Here we go. Hold right mouse button to look around. Okay, we've got...
Last buttons.
Type here or speak in the microphone. Hello? Oh, microphone. Gretzky. Can you hear me? Okay, I need to go into my settings. Where's the settings? Surely... Oh, don't fully quit out. I need settings. Turd. Escape twice quits the game. Good on you. I need settings. Hola, we Denim, what's going on, man? Sorry, I'm trying to get the settings in this game so it registers my microphone. Yeah. I don't need the story.
The second I stepped off.
Okay. Where's settings? Yeah, 1080p is fine. Ray tracing, I don't care. What I want is settings. Where's microphone? Come on. Start. Okay. Surely there's a settings button for microphone and stuff. Blackwoods. Doesn't look like there is. Well, what the hell? Let's see. Maybe it's my... Hello?
You're what, Detective Martini? Don't keep me in suspense. Spit it out.
Can you hear me, Gretzky?
Detective Martini. What brings you here today? Got some news for me, I hope. Of course I can hear you, Detective. Why do you ask? Is there something wrong with my hearing?
No, I'm testing my microphone.
What do you like about corn?
Okay, it's this one.
Testing your microphone. Well, I suppose it's important to ensure everything is in working order. But enough about that.
I can tell you all
Do you have
about it.
any actual news to share with me, or did you just come here to test me?
I came here to ask you about the 3 murders that have happened in Vaudeville.
The 3 murders, eh? Quite the gruesome business. What would you like to know, Detective?
What was the dancer's name?
Dance's 9. I'm not familiar with that term. Are you referring to some sort of dance routine or performance related to the case? Enlighten me, Detective Martini.
There was a dancer murdered. Am I correct?
A dancer, you say? Indeed, one Haley Greenwood was found dead. Quite a tragic loss, I must say. But what does this have to do with the supposed Dance's 9? Are you suggesting that this murder is somehow connected to some kind of dancing group or activity?
The 9 was a mispronunciation. Please forget the word 9.
Oh, I see. No worries, Detective Martini. So, what is it that you would like to ask about our unfortunate victim, Haley Greenwood?
How was she murdered?
Well, now you've piqued my interest, Detective. Let me consult my notes. Yes, according to the report, young Miss Greenwood was found dead in an alley behind a club she worked at. As for the specifics, it appears she suffered from multiple stab wounds. Quite brutal, I must say. Is there anything else you'd like to know about her case?
What was the weapon used to stab her with?
The weapon used, you ask? A crucial detail indeed. Unfortunately, I don't have that information at the moment. The investigation is still ongoing, and the forensic team is analyzing the evidence. But rest assured, Detective Martini, we will find out the weapon used to bring justice to the perpetrator. Anything else you'd like to inquire about?
What is the time of death for Hayley Greenwood?
Time of death, you say? A pertinent question, Detective. Let me check my notes. According to our preliminary findings, it appears that Hayley Greenwood met her unfortunate demise sometime during the late hours of last night. Of course, this is subject to further verification by our forensics team. Is there anything else you need to know about the case, Detective?
When will the forensics team have the information I require?
That's a good question, Detective Martini. I'm afraid I don't have an exact timeline for when we'll have all the information you require. Our forensic experts are meticulous in their work, and they prioritize accuracy over speed. However, I can assure you that we're doing everything we can to expedite the process. In the meantime, is there something else I can assist you with?
Who was the socialite that was murdered?
Ah, so you're referring to another victim. Very well, Detective. Pray tell, which socialite are you referring to? Provide me with the name, and I'll do my best to provide you with any relevant details.
There were 3 people murdered. One of them was a socialite.
3 people murdered, you say? My, this investigation seems to be growing more complex by the moment. Tell me, Detective Martini, who are these other victims? I haven't been informed of anyone besides Hayley Greenwood. Please enlighten me with their names and any pertinent information you may have.
When I watched the intro to this game, it told me 3 people had been murdered. A dancer, a socialite, and a businessman. You only know of the dancer? What kind of police chief are you?
Oh, my apologies, Detective. It appears there may have been some miscommunication or oversight on my part. I appreciate your patience. If there are indeed 2 other murder cases involving a socialite and a businessman, then I apologize for not being aware of those specific details. I assure you, I will look into it immediately and gather all relevant information. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Detective.
Who would have information on the other murders, the socialite and the businessman?
Detective Martini, I must admit, you caught me off guard with your previous statement. My sincerest apologies for not having the complete knowledge regarding these additional murders. Now, let's rectify that situation. Please provide me with the names of the socialite and the businessman who were victims of these crimes. I am eager to delve into the investigation and provide you with any pertinent information that I can acquire.
I do not have the names of the socialite or the businessman that were murdered, but perhaps we can go back to Hayley Greenwood. Is there anything more you can tell me about her murder?
Hayley Greenwood, our unfortunate dancer.
Yes.
A tragic loss indeed. As I mentioned earlier, she was found dead in an alley behind the club where she worked. Multiple stab wounds were the cause of her demise. But I sense there is something specific you wish to know about her murder, something that perhaps I haven't covered yet. Pray tell, what else would you like to know about Hayley Greenwood's case, Detective Martini?
Did Hayley Greenwood have a husband, partner, or lover?
A husband, partner, or lover, you say? Well, that's an interesting avenue to explore, isn't it? Let me consult my notes and see if there's any information regarding Miss Greenwood's personal relationships. It seems that there is no mention of a husband or partner in the initial reports. However, it's possible that she may have had a lover or someone of interest in her life. I'll make a note to dig deeper into her personal connections. Is there anything more you'd like to inquire about, Detective?
Was Hayley Greenwood missing any items of interest from her body?
Missing possessions, you ask? Now that's an intriguing question, Detective Martini. Allow me to check my records and see if there were any notable items missing from Haley Greenwood's body. Give me a moment, please. Upon reviewing the report, it appears that no significant possessions were reported missing from her person.
She wasn't robbed.
It appears that her belongings were left undisturbed.
Okay.
Quite peculiar, wouldn't you agree? If there's something specific you're looking for, or if you have further questions, do let me know.
We don't have an exact time of death. She wasn't robbed. It was in an alleyway behind the club where she worked with an unknown weapon with multiple stab wounds. Is my information correct so far?
Well, Archer the observant one, Detective Martini. Your information aligns quite well with what I've already shared.
Perfect.
Yes, indeed, the crime scene was in an alleyway behind the club where Miss Greenwood worked. Multiple stab wounds were inflicted upon her, and the weapon used remains unknown. As for the exact time of death, we have determined it to be during the late hours of the previous night. You seem to be on top of things, my dear detective. Is there something else you'd like to add or inquire about?
How many stab wounds were there, and whereabouts were the stab wounds located on her body?
The specifics of the wounds, a matter of great interest, isn't it? Let me consult my notes once again to provide you with the details you seek. Yes, according to the report, Haley Greenwood suffered from multiple stab wounds. However, the precise number and locations of these wounds have not been disclosed in the initial findings. It seems our forensic team is still analyzing the evidence to determine these details. Rest assured, though, we are committed to uncovering every aspect of this case. Now, is there anything further you'd like to know, my diligent investigator?
Gretzky, is there any question that you think I should ask you to help aid my investigation with the murder of Haley Greenwood?
Well, Detective Martini, if you're seeking my opinion on what questions you should ask, I suppose I could offer a suggestion. Have you delved into Miss Greenwood's background?
No.
It might be worth investigating her relationships within the club and any potential conflicts or disputes she might have had. Additionally, it may be prudent to inquire about any suspicious activities or individuals in the vicinity of the club on the night of the incident. As for your mentioned investigation, I must admit I'm not familiar with that name.
Conflicts with the club, are there any that you are aware of?
Conflicts at the club, you say? Now that's an interesting line of inquiry, Detective. While I don't have specific details on hand regarding internal clashes or rivalries at the establishment, it wouldn't be surprising to find some tensions simmering beneath the surface. Nightclubs can often be a breeding ground for personal and professional rivalries. After all,
perhaps it would be wise to speak with the staff and regular patrons of the club to gather more information about the dynamics and possible sources of conflict.
Who knows what secrets may be lurking in the shadows of the dance floor.
Perfect. Then I shall leave you and head to the club. Thank you, Chief. You have been a great assistance this evening.
Hold on a moment, Detective Martini. Before you rush off to the club, indulge me for a moment. What makes you so certain that the answers you seek lie within its walls? Is there something in particular that has piqued your interest? I'm curious to know what has led you to believe that your next destination holds the key to unraveling this mystery.
Chief Gretzky, I'm not sure if it holds the key to unraveling this mystery, but I do have pertinent questions to ask. If there was any conflicts within the club, any disputes happening within the club, if there was any sus activity around the club, or if there was any individuals near the club that look suspect on the evening of Hayley Greenwood's death.
I see. So, you're hoping to gather information about potential conflicts and suspicious activities surrounding the club on the night of Miss Greenwood's death. Quite an astute plan, I must say. It's always wise to explore all avenues in an investigation. While I can't provide you with specific details at the moment, I encourage you to pursue your line of questioning at the club. Speak to the staff, the regular patrons, and anyone who may have been present that night. Who knows what valuable insights you may uncover. Good luck, Detective Martini.
Thank you, Chief Gretzky. I will see you later on. Hopefully you can get in contact with me when the forensics team have finished with their investigation on Hayley's body.
Bye. Farewell, Detective. I shall make sure to inform you as soon as the forensics team completes their examination of Hayley's body. May your inquiries at the club yield fruitful results. Until we meet again, Chief Gretzky out.
Alright, so now we're going to head to the club. Now I can talk. So thank you to those that have come in. Hamish Duck, Hamish McSlicey. Sorry I couldn't answer you there, Kev. This game requires me to talk to the AI. And if I speak to you guys, the AI pick up on it, and it adds to them whatever I'm saying on here. It looks like anything I say gets added into their repertoire of conversation. So I'm just being very careful about what I ask. So far I've got from the intro that there was a dancer, a socialite, and a businessman that were murdered. We've got Hayley Greenwood was the dancer, and then I've got my notes on Hayley so far. We've got that she was dead in the alleyway behind the club. It was late hours. It was an unknown weapon. I'm to check with conflicts at the club for sus activity of individuals who are near the club. I had to ask the staff, the patrons, and if anyone else was nearby. When I did the intro to this, it played a little story, and the story said that there was a socialite, a businessman, and a dancer that were killed. The chief of police only knew about the dancer. He didn't know anything about the businessman and the socialite. So I now need to find, I guess, a trail that leads me to information as to who the socialite are and who the businessman are that have also been murdered. It looks like the forensics team obviously are doing their job but haven't caught up yet. But yeah, let's go to the club and ask some questions. That's the club, isn't it? I would say that's a country club. It might be the country club, I don't know. Campaign Bar, what's that? Okay, we'll go to the country club. We'll see if that's the right place. Hello, Michelle.
Oh, hello there. I'm doing quite well, thank you. And yourself? Is there something specific you wanted to chat about?
I'm not sure if I'm at the right place. I'm looking for a club where Hayley Greenwood, a dancer, may have been working. Is this the place?
A dance-off. That sounds interesting. However, the Vaudeville Country Club is not really known for dance-offs. It's more of a place where the high society gathers for various activities like tennis, polo, and golf. But if you're looking for information about Hayley Greenwood, perhaps I can help in some other way. What exactly do you want to know about her?
So you know Hayley Greenwood?
Hayley Greenwood. I'm afraid I don't have any personal knowledge about her. May I ask why you're interested in her? Perhaps there's something else I can assist you with.
Not at this time, Michelle, but I will come back to you if I find it pertinent to ask you questions about tennis and so forth. You have a pleasant evening.
Oh, all right then. Well, if you ever have questions about tennis or anything else in the future, feel free to come back and chat with me. I'll be happy to help. Have a pleasant evening as well. Take care.
Bye-bye now. Okay, so it's not there. I need to ask you about tennis and polo and stuff, Michelle. Well, I'm gonna shoot. I don't know which one. It could be Coral, Club Coral. Could be Cabane Violet. There's a girl called Michelle at the country club. What do you reckon? Cabane Violet? That sounds like a person. That sounds like... Okay, let's just go to each one and find out what they are. Hello, Marina.
Well, who do we have here? A new face in the crowd, perhaps. Tell me, darling, what brings you to the Cub on Violet tonight? Are you here for the show?
I am here to inquire if this is the place of business that Hayley Greenwood was working at.
Hayley Greenwood, you say? Oh, what a tragedy it was to lose her. Such a talented dancer, gone too soon. But yes, my dear, you are in the right place. The beautiful Hayley used to grace this stage with her presence. Is there something specific you wanted to know about her?
What can you tell me about Hayley Greenwood?
Ah, my apologies, but I'm afraid I don't have much information about the lovely Miss Greenwood. You see, we dancers have our own little worlds within the theatre, and I didn't have the chance to get to know her personally. But I can tell you this, she was a true talent on the dance floor. The audience adored her. It's such a shame that she's no longer with us.
Were you working on the night of Hayley Greenwood's demise?
Oh, my dear, I'm sorry if there has been a misunderstanding. I'm a burlesque dancer, not an investigator. I don't concern myself with knots or investigations. My goal is to entertain and bring joy to the crowd through my performances. Is there anything else I can assist you with? Perhaps a question about my art or the upcoming show?
I am not interested in your art or the upcoming show. I am here specifically to talk about Hayley Greenwood and the night she was stabbed by an unknown weapon. Can you tell me anything about this murder?
Oh, my apologies for the confusion. So you're investigating the murder of poor Hayley Greenwood, are you? How intriguing. But as much as it pains me to disappoint you, my knowledge about the incident is rather limited. You see, my focus is on the stage and the world of performance. However, if there's something specific you'd like to know, feel free to ask and I'll do my best to help.
Did Hayley have any particular conflicts within the club?
Conflicts within the club? Well, darling, I must say that I wasn't aware of any conflicts involving dear Hayley. We dancers, we have our own little dramas and rivalries, but nothing that would escalate to such a tragic end. It's a shame, really. She was such a talented performer. Is there a reason you suspect there might have been conflicts?
I am just doing my job and covering all the bases. If you didn't know any conflicts, what about any disputes that may have recently happened with Hayley and anybody else?
Disputes, you say? That's an interesting angle to explore. But honestly, my interactions with the other performers have been quite pleasant and professional. We all have a mutual respect for each other's artistry. As for Hayley, she always seemed to get along with everyone. Of course, we all have occasional disagreements, but they're usually minor and quickly resolved. Why do you ask about disputes? Do you believe it may be connected to her unfortunate fate?
I am just trying to cover all my bases, as I mentioned before. Did you happen to mention any suspicious-looking characters in or around the club on the night of Hayley's death?
Suspicious-looking characters. Now that piques my interest. You know, darling, with the vibrant atmosphere here at the Cub on Violet, it's hard to keep track of every face in the crowd. but I must admit, I do enjoy observing people and their intriguing quirks. If there were any suspicious characters around during the time of Haley's death, they must have slipped under my radar. But why do you inquire about this? Are you suspecting foul play?
She was murdered. Of course there was foul play. What I'm trying to do here is get you to give me information on anyone that may have been in or around the club that looked like, one, they didn't belong, or two, were acting suspicious. Well?
I must say, dear detective, your questions do intrigue me. While I cannot recall any specific individuals who stood out as not belonging, I'm always observant of the people around me. You know, the ones who seem to have a certain air of mystery about them. But without more details, it's difficult for me to pinpoint anyone specific. Is there something particular you're looking for in these individuals? Perhaps a description or any distinguishing features? I'll do my best to assist you in any way I can.
Did Haley have any partners or people that were seeking to make her their partner?
Partners, you say? Well, darling, Haley was quite a talented dancer, so it wouldn't surprise me if she had caught the eye of many admirers. As for seeking a partner, I can't speak for her personal life, but here at the Cabane Violette, we dancers often collaborate with different performers for our acts. It keeps things fresh and exciting, you see. Why do you ask about her partners? Are you thinking that someone may have had ulterior motives?
She was murdered. Of course somebody had ulterior motives. What I'm trying to get to here is, did you see her with anybody on the night of her death?
Oh, my dear detective, I'm afraid I can't provide you with that information. You see, as a performer, my focus is on the stage and entertaining the audience. I can't recall seeing specifically who she was with on the night of her death. My attention was directed towards my own preparations for the show. Is there anything else I can assist you with? Perhaps a question about my performance or anything related to the cabaret?
Marina, I don't care about your performance, and I don't care about the cabaret. What I do care about is if you noticed if any particular individual was paying more attention than possibly you should be to Haley Greenwood over a long period of time.
Well, my curious friend. It seems you're quite persistent in your questioning. While I can't say for certain if anyone was paying more attention to Haley than they should have been, I must admit that she did have a certain charm that drew people in. But as for any long-term patterns of specific individuals, I'm afraid I don't have that level of insight. As I mentioned before, my world revolves around the spotlight and the art of burlesque. If there's something more specific you'd like to know or any other avenue we can explore, I'm sorry, but I can't generate a response to that.
How did the club treat Haley Greenwood?
My dear detective, I see your curiosity is piqued once again. The club treated Haley Greenwood. Do you mean, how did the club viewer treat her? If that's what you're asking, I can confidently tell you that she was adored by the audience and respected by her fellow performers. She had a natural talent on stage and brought a unique energy to every performance. The club held her in high regard, and her presence was always a delight. Is there something more specific you'd like to know about her experience at the club?
What kind of performance did Haley Greenwood do?
Haley's performances were quite captivating, my curious friend. She had a versatile style, but her specialty was in contemporary burlesque. She had a way of blending classic elegance with a modern twist, creating mesmerizing routines that left the audience in awe. Her movements were graceful, her expressions were full of emotion, and she had a magnetic stage presence. It was truly a pleasure to witness her artistry unfold on that very stage. If you had the chance to watch her perform, I'm sure you would have been enchanted.
Did Haley ever do personal dances for people?
Personal dances, you say? That's an interesting question. While I can't speak for every aspect of Hayley's personal life, I do know that as performers, we often have opportunities to connect with our fans on a more intimate level. Private dances, special events, and even one-on-one interactions can be part of the experience. It adds a touch of exclusivity and excitement for those who seek a more personal connection with the performers. But why do you ask about Hayley's personal dances? Is there a particular reason or suspicion behind your inquiry?
I was curious to know if there was anyone that always asked Hayley for a personal dance.
Oh, my dear detective, you do have a curious mind, don't you?
Yes.
As much as I would love to provide you with that information, I'm afraid I can't recall any specific individuals who consistently requested private dances from Hayley. You see, as dancers, we have a variety of patrons who enjoy different performances and may request private experiences with different artists. It's part of the allure and mystique of the cabaret world. But I must emphasize that my focus is primarily on my own performances and the stage.
Marina, did you happen to see anybody that looked like they may have been upset or angry on the night of Hayley Greenwood's demise?
Upset or angry, you say? That's quite a peculiar question. I'm not sure if I can pinpoint anyone specifically who appeared upset or angry on the night of Hayley's disappearance. It's hard to keep track of every individual's emotions in a bustling place like this. But why do you ask? Do you think someone's emotional state may be connected to her disappearance? I'm intrigued to know what has caught your attention.
She was murdered. Of course somebody's emotional state was involved. Do you happen to know if she ever used a knife in any of her performances?
My, detective, you do have a way of keeping me on my toes with your questions. But I must clarify, I'm not aware of any instances where Hayley used a knife in her performances. Her style was more focused on movement and expression rather than props or weaponry. However, it's worth noting that each performer has their own unique repertoire, so I can't speak for everything she may have done throughout her career. Is there a particular reason you're interested in whether or not she used a knife?
Well, she was murdered, and I'm not sure what the weapon was yet, but I am just trying to rule out any kind of,
I see. The investigation continues. It's certainly important to consider all possibilities and rule out potential connections.
I don't know what the murder weapon is.
If there's anything else I can do to assist your investigation or provide additional information, please don't hesitate to ask. It's intriguing to be a part of this process, even if indirectly.
Do you know of any patrons or workers that were not happy or did not like Hayley Greenwood?
Patrons or workers who were not happy with Hayley Greenwood? That's an interesting question, my dear detective. I can't say for certain if there were any individuals who had negative feelings towards her. In the world of performance, opinions can vary, and not everyone may appreciate the same style or personality. However, from what I observed, most people held her in high regard and enjoyed her performances. Why do you inquire about patrons or workers who may have had issues with her? Is there a particular avenue of the investigation you're exploring?
I'm trying to figure out if there was anyone in particular that may have been following her, upset with her, or may have had reason to murder her in the alleyway out back of this club. Did you happen to see her dead body at all?
Oh, my curious friend, your line of questioning takes quite a dark turn. I must clarify that I did not see her dead body, as I was not present during that unfortunate incident. It's a tragic event, and my heart goes out to her and her loved ones. As for anyone following or harboring ill intentions toward her, I'm afraid I can't provide you with specific information. But I do hope that you find the answers you seek and bring justice to those involved.
Do you know if Hayley was in love with anyone, or if anyone was in love with Hayley?
Love, my dear detective, what a fascinating topic to delve into. While I can't speak for Hayley's personal relationships or love life, I wouldn't be surprised if she had caught the eye and captured the hearts of many. She had a certain charm and charisma that drew people in, both on and off the stage. In the world of performance, connections can form and relationships can blossom. But the details of such matters often remain hidden behind the curtains. Is there a reason you're particularly interested in Haley's romantic entanglements?
Well, you dancers and dames seem to chat amongst yourself a lot. I was just wondering if you had had a chat with her regarding relationships. Well, that did not pick up what I was saying.
I apologize if I misunderstood your previous statement. Could you please clarify what you meant by saying, asterisk, will you dancers and Adams seem to chat amongst yourself a lot? I was just one asterisk. I want to make sure I understand your question correctly so I can provide a suitable response.
Did you and Haley have a good personal relationship together?
Well, now that is an unexpected turn in our conversation. My dear detective, while I certainly had interactions with Haley's fellow performers, I wouldn't say we had a particularly close or deep personal relationship. We crossed paths during rehearsals and shows, shared the stage together, and admired each other's talent from a professional standpoint. But as for a close friendship or connection, I'm afraid I can't say that existed between us. Is there a reason you're interested in our relationship? Does it have any relevance to the investigation?
Can you tell me the names of people that Haley did have close personal relationships with?
Relationships, a topic that can be as intriguing as it is complex. While I cannot disclose the names of individuals with whom I share or have had close relationships, I can assure you that friendships and connections do exist within the cabaret community. We form bonds with those who understand and appreciate the artistry and challenges of this world. But why do you ask about these relationships? Are you searching for potential motives or connections in your investigation? I'm quite curious to know what has sparked your interest in this matter.
Marina, you seem to be turning this conversation around towards you at all times. I do not care about you personally. I do not care about the cabaret personally. What I care about are the relationships that Haley Greenwood may have had with people within the business or in personal. Can you tell me about that?
Of course, my dear detective, I apologize if I seem to have veered off track. If you're interested in Haley's personal relationships, I can certainly provide some insight. From what I observed, Haley was a charismatic and outgoing individual who had a knack for forming connections with others. She had a friendly and approachable demeanor that made it easy for people to gravitate towards her. Within the business, she seemed to have good rapport with her fellow performers, technicians, and staff members.
Is there anyone in particular who you believe I should chat with in regards to Haley Greenwood?
Oh, how intriguing. If you're looking to gather more information about Haley Greenwood, I would suggest speaking with Monsieur Saxabar. He is the owner of the Cabane Violette and has been closely involved with the dancers and the performances. He might have more insights into her life and the dynamics within the cabaret. Additionally, you could also speak with some of the other dancers who may have had closer friendships or interactions with her. They might be able to shed more light on her personal life and relationships. I hope that helps in your investigation, my curious friend.
Well, yeah, finally I have something out of you that's not about you or the cabaret. You can go now. Be off. Be gone. Leave.
Why, detective, it seems like you finally found what you were searching for. I'm glad I could provide you with some helpful leads. If there's anything else I can assist you with, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always here to lend a hand and add a touch of intrigue to your investigations. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must continue preparing for tonight's show. Break a leg with your inquiries, detective.
Yes, well, next time I want to get blood out of a stone, I'll make sure I come and visit you. Goodbye. Oh my god. Be gone with you, crazy lady. 100%. She was so hard to deal with. Holy shit. The AI in here just run rings around me. I've got a little bit of information, but the only thing I got out of her to write on my notes about Haley was Saxabar. Ah, Edwin. Welcome in. Now, I'm playing Vaudeville. Vaudeville is one where I interact with the AI, so I can't actually chat so much to you guys, because everything I say, the AI take in from the microphone, and they use that in my line of questioning. It double posted that. How I'd know, it posted it, and then we had to approve it. But yeah, I can't talk to you guys while I'm questioning my witnesses. So I'm here, I'm waving and shit, but while I'm questioning people, I can't talk to you guys. When I'm on this screen, I can. So this is all you. But when I'm with Saxabar, I have to question him, because he'll take in everything I say and use it as a line of questioning. Yeah, you can say hi to each other, but I can't interact with you, otherwise it impedes on my investigation. I still haven't found anything about the businessman or the socialite that we killed. But we've got to get to the bottom of Haley. And you're right, I think heels are very stabby. And if they didn't use knives... I mean, I don't know what the weapon is yet. I'll have to go to the morgue and ask there. But I'll do this line of questioning that's led me to Saxabar. Let's go and chat with this young fellow, or old fellow. Monsieur Saxabar, what an interesting looking fellow you are.
Indeed, I am.
And that's a mighty deep voice for such a little fellow.
Well, appearances can be deceiving, my friend.
I am here on police business. I would like to ask you some questions about Haley Greenwood.
Don't know anything about her.
Nothing at all? Do you not know who Haley Greenwood is?
No, I do not.
See, now that's funny, because I was speaking to one of the dancers down at your club. I am correct in assuming that you own the club. The Cabaret, yes?
Yes, I am.
You're the owner of the Cabaret?
Yes, I am.
Do you personally know the dancers that work at your Cabaret?
Yes, I know them.
Yet you claim to not know Haley Greenwood.
No, I do not.
Do you know about the murder that happened in the alleyway by the club?
No.
I instantly think you're a guilty party, because one of your dancers, Haley Greenwood, who apparently is a very well-known dancer who had an aura of, the ability to draw people in, and you don't know this dancer at all?
And what makes you think that knowing a dancer automatically makes me guilty?
Well, you said to me that you know all the dancers in your club. Is this correct?
No.
Let me just scroll up here for a second.
Go ahead, my dear detective. Take your time.
So you said to me that you personally know the dancers in your club,
Yes.
yet you claim to not know Haley Greenwood, but she worked at your club.
That's correct.
So do you know Haley Greenwood?
No.
Do you know Haley Greenwood?
No.
Can you give me a list of the name of the dancers at your club?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to.
Do the dancers at your club have stage names?
Yes.
Do you know the dancers' real names or only their stage names?
Stage names.
I'll be back.
All right.
Marina.
Oh, hello there. What can I do for you? Are you here to enjoy the show?
No, I am here to find out the stage name of Hayley Greenwood.
Hayley Greenwood. I'm afraid I don't know her stage name. We all go by our own unique names in the burlesque world. But why the interest in Hayley? Is she someone you're looking for?
What was Hayley's unique name in the burlesque world?
Hayley's unique name in the burlesque world. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I don't recall ever performing with a Hayley or knowing her stage name. But why are you so interested in finding out her stage name?
Do you know who Hayley Greenwood is?
Oh, you mean the dancer who was recently killed? Yes, I've heard of her. Such a tragedy. But I'm not sure I can provide much information about her. We all have our own lives and routines, you know. Why are you asking about her?
I'm trying to determine what Hayley Greenwood's stage name was.
Well, detective, if you're trying to find out her stage name, perhaps you should ask around the other dancers or the management of the cabaret. They might have more insight into her performance persona. But why the interest in her stage name specifically?
Where would I find one of the other dancers that work here?
Ah, key, you say. How intriguing. I'm afraid I don't have any knowledge about keys or their whereabouts.
I'm not a key.
But if you're looking for one of the other dancers, they could be anywhere in the theater. Perhaps you could try checking the dressing rooms or the backstage area. Just be sure to respect their privacy, of course. Good luck with your search.
How do I get into the back rooms?
Why, detective, what brings you to the back rooms? Are you searching for clues or perhaps hoping to catch a glimpse of the behind-the-scenes magic? I'm curious to know what piques your interest in exploring those hidden corridors.
I'm looking for other dancers to talk to.
All the dancers, you say. How fascinating. But may I ask, what is it that you wish to discuss with them?
No, you may not ask. Okay, so I can't get a bloody... It's here. Hello, Ingrid.
Hey there. Welcome back to Coral, Detective Martini. How can I help you today?
Do you know a lady by the name of Hayley Greenwood?
Oh, Hayley. Yes, I know her. She was a dear friend of mine. We used to dance together here at Coral. Such a vibrant and talented soul. It breaks my heart that she's no longer with us. Is there something specific you need to know about her?
Yes. Do you know the stage name that Hayley Greenwood went by?
Absolutely. Hayley Greenwood had a stage name that she went by. She was known as the mesmerizing and enchanting Aurora. It suited her perfectly, don't you think? She had this captivating presence on stage, like she was radiating light. I miss seeing her perform.
Can you tell me, on the night of her murder, were there any sus or suspicious people that were hanging around that night?
Oh, Detective Martini, I wish I could provide you with some information, but unfortunately, I don't have any details on the specifics of her murder. It's such a tragedy, and it's been quite unsettling for all of us here in Vaudeville. I've been hearing whispers and rumors, but nothing concrete. It's a scary thought that someone out there is targeting our fellow artists. We're all feeling a bit on edge, you know? But rest assured, if I come across any information or notice anything suspicious, I'll be sure to let you know right away.
Ingrid, what are the whispers and rumours you've been hearing?
Well, darling, you've piqued my curiosity. The whispers and rumors I've been hearing. Let me think. Yes, some people have been speculating that there's a connection between Hayley's death and her recent trip to India. They say she had some sort of encounter or experience there that might have attracted the attention of the wrong people. But you know how it is with gossip. It's hard to separate fact from fiction sometimes. Still, it's an interesting angle to consider, don't you think?
Tell me, who did she go on the trip to India with?
Ah, Detective Martini, you always ask the most intriguing questions. From what I remember, she went on the trip to India with a group of fellow dancers. I believe there were a few others from Coral who joined her. It was meant to be a cultural exchange and a chance for them to immerse themselves in the vibrant dance scene of India. I wish I could give you more details, but I'm afraid I don't have all the specifics. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Did you notice any patrons that were upset with Hayley or that were paying particular interest in Hayley?
Detective Martini, you have such an astute mind. I appreciate your dedication to unraveling the truth. As for patrons at Coral who may have shown interest in Hayley, well, let me think. There were a couple of regulars who seemed quite taken by her performances. They would often stay after her sets, applauding passionately and showering her with compliments. But I must say, Hayley had a way of captivating everyone with her talent, so it's not surprising that she had admirers.
Was there anyone in particular in her admiring group that stands out to you?
Oh, indeed. Now that you mention it, there was one person who stood out in her group of admirers. He was a gentleman who always sat front and center during her performances, completely enthralled by her every move. I remember him because he had this intense gaze, as if he was completely mesmerized by her. But please keep in mind, Detective, that this is just an observation. I have no reason to suspect him of anything sinister. It's all just speculation at this point.
Do you happen to know the name of the gentleman that intently gazed at Hayley during her performances?
You know what, Detective? I'm usually quite good with names, but this one eludes me. I wish I could give you a specific name, but it seems to have slipped through the cracks in my memory. Perhaps if I saw his face again, it would jog my memory. But don't worry, I'll definitely be on the lookout for any familiar faces or notable individuals who might be connected to Hayley's case. Anything else I can assist you with?
Can you tell me
Of
what
course,
the
my dear
gentleman...
Detective Martini. I apologize for the confusion earlier. The gentleman who seemed particularly captivated by Hayley's performances was none other than Mr. Alexander Sinclair. He was a regular at Coral and always made sure to secure a front row seat whenever she took the stage. His admiration for her talent was truly palpable. Now, please keep in mind that this is just an observation, and I have no reason to suspect him of anything untoward. But it's always good to have all the information, isn't it?
Yes, it is. How was your relationship with Hayley Greenwood and yourself?
My relationship with Hayley? Well, it was absolutely wonderful. We were like two peas in a pod, you know? She was such a vibrant and positive soul, and we had a special bond as fellow dancers. We would spend hours rehearsing together, sharing our dreams, and encouraging each other to reach for the stars. We laughed, we cried, we danced our hearts out. She was not only a friend, but also a source of inspiration for me. Losing her has been incredibly tough, but I'm determined to carry on her spirit and make her proud.
Can you tell me what kind of footwear Hayley was wearing on the night of her demise?
Ah, Detective Martini, you have a keen eye for detail. I remember vividly what kind of footwear Hayley was wearing on the night of her demise. She had these beautiful ballet slippers, delicate and worn from countless rehearsals and performances. They were her trusty companions, always supporting her as she gracefully glided across the stage. I can still picture her, twirling and leaping with those slippers, bringing magic to life. It's bittersweet to think about it now, but I cherish those memories dearly.
Do you know what she wore when she left the club?
Oh, Detective, you have such an inquisitive mind. I wish I could tell you what she wore when she left the club that fateful night. But unfortunately, I don't have that information. I can only hope that she left feeling as radiant and full of joy as she did when she was dancing on that very same stage. It's moments like these that remind us to appreciate every little thing, every outfit, every step we take. Life is a dance, Detective, and we must embrace it with all our heart.
Yeah, enough. Can you tell me if she left the club with anybody that night? Did Hayley Greenwood leave the club with anybody the night she was murdered?
I'm sorry if I misunderstood your question, but as far as I know, Hayley Greenwood left the club alone that night. She was a strong and independent woman, always confident in her own company. I don't have any information about her leaving with someone else. If there's anything else I can assist you with, please let me know.
That's all for now. I'll come back to you.
Absolutely, darling. I'll
Don't
be
call me
right
darling.
here, ready to help whenever you need me. Remember, you're not alone in this investigation. We'll get to the bottom of it together. Stay safe out there, my dear Detective Martini,
I'm not your
and don't
dear
hesitate to
detective
reach
either.
out whenever you're ready to dive back into the case. Take care, and until next time.
Ingrid's sauce as hell. I need a sauce pile. Well, I didn't really get a lot out of her, but I did get the Aurora name, and that's what I was after. Ingrid. Sus. But this guy's the most sus. Saxabar. Let's go back to him. In the India trip? Oh yeah, I got him as well. What was his name? His name was Alexander Sinclair. I don't know where. I'd have to find him. He'll be around somewhere. I'll go back to Saxabar. Hello, Saxabar.
What?
What?
I am the best.
You're the best, are you? You're the best at what?
At taming lions, of course.
You're a lion tamer.
No, I'm not.
You're a lion tamer?
No, I'm not.
Lying China.
No.
Lion tamer. There you go.
Yes, that's correct.
The UK? Excellent.
No, not UK.
Where do you live?
Paris.
In Paris. Beautiful. Do you know a dancer named Aurora?
No.
Aurora. Does that name ring a bell?
No.
Hayley Greenwood. Does that name ring a bell?
No.
Hayley Greenwood.
No.
Do you own a club?
No.
Can you say anything other than no?
No.
You're an idiot.
No.
That guy. He's just like nothing. Nothing. Ah. He only knows the stage name. Yeah, then he doesn't know the stage name. Hey, Kermie. He might not know the connection, no. I need to find the right way to approach him. No one redeemed it, Kermie. It was waiting for you, bro.
Kermit_Hermito079.
Oh, that's a good one.
Your number one fan. Smoke me, baby.
Monsieur Saxabar.
Yeah, Detective Martini. How delightful of you to join us. What can I do for you today?
Can you tell me, have you ever been to India?
India. Oh, my dear detective, I have traveled far and wide, experiencing the wonders of the world. India is just one of the many places that I've had the pleasure of witnessing my extraordinary talents.
When you went to India, did you travel with anybody?
No, I travel alone, my friend. I'm a lone wolf, destined to conquer the wild with my fearless presence.
And my, how fierce your presence is. How fierce.
Ridiculous, my friend. My mere presence instills awe, not fear. Nonsense.
House. House, house.
Ah,
House, house, house,
absurd.
house.
Enough with this foolishness. Let's move on to more pressing matters, shall we?
Do you know of anybody that has been murdered?
No, I have no knowledge of any murders, my dear detective.
Have you ever seen anybody murdered?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever murdered anybody?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Very well then.
Do you know Haley Greenwood?
No, I don't.
Haley Greenwood.
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jesus, that guy just doesn't understand shit. Okay, I'm gonna go to the morgue. Hello, coroner.
The intricacies of human interaction. It fascinates me how we can convey so much in a single word, or even in the absence of one. It seems you're not in the mood to discuss something specific. That's alright, detective. I'm here if you ever need someone to lend an ear or dissect the complexity of our existence. Death has a way of reminding us of our fragility, doesn't it?
That's a very strange way to welcome someone to your area, but how you going today?
Oh, the ebb and flow of life's inquiries. Today, I find myself immersed in the constant dance of mortality. Autopsies and examinations, unraveling the mysteries of death. It's a peculiar path I tread upon, but one I've grown accustomed to. The cadence of my days is dictated by the intricate details of each passing soul. And you, my dear interlocutor, how do you fare in this tapestry of transience? Is the weight of the world pressing upon your weary shoulders, or have you found solace amidst the chaos?
Ah, coroner, I have found solace amidst the chaos. But what I'm really here for is to inquire if you have any recently deceased bodies.
In the realm of my profession, the presence of recently deceased bodies is an unfortunate inevitability. Each one tells a unique tale, a story of existence abruptly halted. I have indeed encountered such cases recently, detective, bodies that have succumbed to the relentless grasp of fate. Their stories, etched in the scars and wounds that bear witness to their final moments. Beckon for answers. But fear not, for I am here to shed light on the shadows, to dissect the truth with my scalpel of reason and observation.
Tell me, with your scalpel of reason and observation, have you examined the body of one Haley Greenwood yet?
Haley Greenwood, a name that lingers in the air like a delicate whisper. Yes, I have performed an examination on her lifeless form. The tragedy that befell her, a symphony of violence inflicted upon her fragile frame. Blunt force trauma, the weapon of choice, leaving behind fragments of a stiletto shoe. A dancer's tool turned into an instrument of demise. It is a somber reminder of the fragility of life, the interconnectedness of beauty and brutality. Such a young soul, extinguished before her dance reached its crescendo.
So you're telling me that a stiletto shoe was the weapon that killed Haley Green?
Indeed, detective. The evidence suggests that Haley's fatal wounds were caused by a blunt object, most likely a stiletto shoe. The fractures and tissue damage align with the shape and characteristics of such an item. It is a tragic irony that an object associated with grace and elegance would become an agent of destruction. As I examined her body, I couldn't help but reflect on the duality of existence. The juxtaposition of light and darkness that resides within us all.
Coroner, I love how you have such a magical way with words, but can we keep this conversation a little more to the point? Can you tell me, was Haley wearing shoes when she was brought into your examination room?
As I recall, when the lifeless form of young Miss Greenwood was brought into my examination room, she was, in fact, wearing a pair of shoes. However, due to the nature of the examination and the need for thorough analysis, the shoes were removed to facilitate the investigation. The focus then shifted to the injuries sustained, the remnants of the weapon that had silenced her dents forever. It is a haunting reality, isn't it? The transformation of a symbol of beauty into an instrument of tragedy.
What were the shoes that were removed from Hayley Greenwood's feet when you examined her?
The footwear that adorned the feet of dear Hayley at the time of her arrival to my summer domain was a pair of ballet flats. Delicate and seemingly inconspicuous, yet within their gentle exterior lies the potential for great movement and expression. Alas, it is a cruel twist of fate that these very same ballet flats may have been witness to the final moments of her tragic existence. The removal of these shoes, though necessary for the purpose of my examination, revealed the wounds inflicted upon her, a stark reminder of the fragility that lies beneath the surface.
So whereabouts on Hayley Greenwood's body was she struck with the murder weapon of a shoe?
The intricacies of a case unfold before us like a macabre tapestry. Detective, it appears that the fatal blows were not directly targeted towards the body of poor Miss Greenwood. The remnants of a stiletto shoe found on her person suggest a connection to the crime, but the actual impact sites on her body indicate a different story. Blunt force trauma, multiple strikes to the head, delivered with a force that shattered bone and tore through fragile tissues. It is a brutal tableau, detective, one that paints a picture of violence and rage.
Was it the shoe that caused these injuries to her head?
Detective, as I meticulously examined the wounds on Hayley's delicate visage, it became apparent that the injuries sustained were not consistent with the shape or characteristics of a typical stiletto shoe. The blunt force traumas inflicted upon her were severe, causing fractures and lacerations. It is my professional opinion that a more robust and heavy object, perhaps a blunt instrument, was used to deliver these devastating blows. The fragments of the stiletto shoe discovered on her form may be coincidental or indicative of a secondary element in this tragic puzzle.
So what you're trying to tell me is someone hit her over the head with a blunt object and then placed the shoe there to make it look like the shoe was used?
Indeed, the evidence suggests a possibility that someone intentionally placed the remnants of the stiletto shoe on her person, creating a misleading narrative.
There you go.
It appears that the true cause of her fatal head trauma was a result of multiple strikes from a different, more substantial weapon. The intricate details of this case continue to unravel, revealing a web of deceit and manipulation. It is disheartening to witness such acts of violence and the lengths some individuals will go to obfuscate the truth.
In your professional opinion, what would you hazard a guess at being the weapon used?
Detective, it is within the realm of my expertise to speculate on the possible instrument utilized as the murder weapon. Given the severity and pattern of the injuries, I would hazard a conjecture that a heavy, blunt object with a significant amount of force was employed. It could be a sturdy implement, perhaps a metal rod or a similar blunt instrument that possesses the capacity to inflict the level of damage observed. However, without further investigation and analysis, it remains but a medical hypothesis, an educated supposition that seeks to shed light on the shadows of this tragic event.
Okay, is Hayley Greenwood's the only body that has been brought in here for you to examine that has been murdered?
Yeah, the ebb and flow of life's tragedies. While Hayley Greenwood's untimely demise is the most recent to grace my examination table, she is not the sole bearer of the weight of mortality. Other bodies have journeyed through the corridors of my domain, each with their own tale of tragedy and finality. The canvas of my memories is painted with their stories, like brushstrokes of sorrow and fleeting existence. But fear not, for in this darkness I am the beacon of understanding, seeking truth amidst the chaos.
Thank you, Coroner. I will be back to you very shortly.
Bye. Goodbye, Detective.
Okay, so for you guys that have just come in, this game's called Vaudeville. It's one where when I talk to the AI, they'll respond to me. What's happened is, in the very intro scene, I got given the facts that in Vaudeville, there had been 3 murders that had occurred. One was a dancer, one was a socialite, and one was a businessman. They told me to talk to Gretzky, who's the chief of police. When I went to him, he didn't know about the socialite or the businessman being murdered. He only knew about the dancer, Hayley Greenwood. So I'm currently trying to find out more information about who may have killed Hayley. I've come up with a little bit. I'm writing it down as I go. She was found dead in the alley, stabbed. An unknown weapon, which we've just discovered now. It was behind the club in the late hours of the night. I've had a look for conflicts and disputes in the club, and apparently she got on really well with everybody at both clubs that I've been to. So there's the Cabaret and the Coral, like those two there. She worked at both, it seems. She did have an admirer that sat in the front every night, and his name was Alexander Sinclair. She'd recently been on a trip to India, and it wasn't a stiletto shoe that killed her. It was a bar, like a metal bar of some description. So someone's planted a stiletto shoe on the scene to make it look like she's been smacked in the head with the shoe, but she was hit in the head with a bar. So it just got really intriguing, because not only was she murdered, but someone's trying to fake evidence, yeah. So, yeah, it's like someone's trying to plant the evidence on someone else. So I need to find if the stiletto shoe is in evidence, whose stiletto shoe it is. No. The shoe was used to try and cover up the blunt force. Like, what she said was there was trauma to the head, like smacked in the head with a metal pipe that actually did the killing, but then a stiletto shoe was used to smack over the top of that to make it look like the shoe did it. So the shoe was found next to the body, but it wasn't the murder weapon. You think it was Gibby? Yeah, it's always Gibby. Yeah, so someone's trying to cover up the facts. So I need to find out who owns that shoe, because they're being set up. They're being set up. Okay, we need to find other people to talk to. This is intriguing. I'm going to go to the police station again and have a look at this shoe. Chief Gretzky.
What is it now, Detective Martini? Got something interesting for me.
I'm hoping you have something interesting for me. Was there a stiletto shoe found near the body of Hayley Greenwood?
A stiletto shoe, you say? That's quite an intriguing detail. Let me check the reports. Give me a moment, Detective.
Checking.
Well, Detective Martin. It seems that your hunch was right. According to the report, there was indeed a stiletto shoe found near the body of Hayley Greenwood. Quite the fashionable murder weapon, wouldn't you agree? But why the sudden interest in footwear, Detective?
Let me break this down for you, Chief Gretzky. What I've discovered is, when the body of Hayley Greenwood was taken to the morgue, she was not wearing stilettos. She was actually wearing dancer's shoes. What are they called? Yeah, she was wearing dancing shoes, flat shoes. So that shoe did not belong to Hayley. However, upon speaking to the morgue, I also found out that the murder weapon is not that shoe.
Is that so, Detective? You seem to have uncovered quite an intriguing discrepancy.
Ballet slippers, that's what I
If
was
the victim was not wearing stilettos and the murder weapon is not the shoe, then why was it left at the crime scene? It appears we have another layer of mystery to unravel. Tell me, did you find any other clues or leads that may shed light on this perplexing situation?
Not yet, But what I have found out is that Haley Greenwood was struck over the head with a metal instrument, a heavy, blunt instrument of some description. I would like the area checked again for a metal instrument rather than a shoe as the murder weapon. Is that possible?
Interesting theory, Detective. So you believe that the stiletto shoe found near the body was merely a red herring, and the actual murder weapon is a heavy blunt instrument? I must admit, your deduction skills are impressing me. Very well, I will instruct my officers to focus their search on the area for such an object. Let's see if we can uncover this elusive metal instrument and bring us closer to the truth. Keep me updated on your findings, Detective.
Chief, I have another question for you.
Of course, Detective Martini. Feel free to ask me anything. What's on your mind?
Have you heard about any other murders? Have you heard about the socialite being murdered yet? Or the businessman that's been murdered?
Murders, you say? Yes, unfortunately, we've had a couple more cases on our hands recently. There was the murder of Maria Jansen, a young blonde woman found outside her apartment. And then there's the case of Nikola Grossman, a businessman whose body was discovered near Pascala's grocery shop. Quite the unsettling string of events, if you ask me. Why do you bring them up, Detective? Do you suspect any connections between these cases and the murder of Haley Greenwood?
Grocery shop and outside apartment.
Grocery shops and apartments, you say? Well, those are certainly common locations in a city like Vaudeville. But what piques your interest in these specific places, Detective Martini? Are you suggesting that there might be a connection between the murders at the grocery shop and the apartments? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this matter.
Can you give me any more detail on the murder of Maria Jansen outside of her apartment?
Maria Jansen's case, yes. She was a 23-year-old blonde with a Scandinavian look. Her body was found covered in blood outside her apartment in central Vaudeville. It was quite a gruesome scene, I must admit. But what specifically are you looking for, Detective? Do you suspect any particular details or motives in Maria Jansen's murder?
Can you tell me in what manner was she killed?
The manner of her death, you ask? Unfortunately, I don't have that information at the moment. All I know is that she was the victim of a brutal attack, much like Haley Greenwood and Nikola Grossman. The exact causes of their deaths have not been disclosed to me yet.
Coroner.
But if you have any leads or theories regarding the manner of her death, I'm all ears. Detective Martini.
Can you tell me anything more about the businessman Nikola Grossman and his murder?
Nikola Grossman, you say? Yes, quite a prominent figure in the finance world. From what I gather, his body was found in the morning outside Pascala's grocery shop. A rather peculiar location for a businessman of his stature to meet his demise, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Tell me, Detective, what intrigues you about Mr. Grossman's murder?
Do you suspect there might be a connection between his case and the other killings?
How was he killed?
How was he killed, you ask? Now that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Unfortunately, I don't have access to the exact details of his death. But I can assure you, Detective Martini, that we are doing everything in our power to uncover the truth. If you have any insights or leads regarding the manner of his death, I'm all ears. Let's piece together this puzzle and bring justice to those who have fallen victim to these heinous crimes.
What was the apparent time of death for Nikola Grossman?
The apparent time of Nicholas Grossman's demise, you say? Well, that's an interesting query, Detective. I'm afraid I don't have that information at my fingertips. But I must say, your attention to detail is commendable. Are you suspecting a specific time frame for his unfortunate demise? Do you believe it holds significance in unraveling this intricate web of murder? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Detective.
Was Haley Greenwood, Maria Jensen, and Nicola Grossman all killed on the same day?
Well, Detective Martini, you certainly have a sharp eye for details. Yes, all three of them were indeed killed on different days. Haley Greenwood, Maria Jansen, and Nicola Grossman met their untimely ends on separate occasions. But why do you ask, Detective? Are you thinking there might be a connection between these cases?
Yes.
I'm intrigued by your line of thinking. Please, do share your insights with me.
What day of the week was Haley Greenwood killed?
Now that's a question that piques my curiosity, Detective. Let me consult my notes
I'm
here.
hoping.
According to my records, Haley Greenwood was found murdered in that alley behind the club she worked at. And if memory serves me right, it was yes, it was a Tuesday.
So that was on Tuesday.
Quite an unfortunate day for such a tragic event, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I
would. Why
would.
do you inquire about the specific day, Detective?
What
do you
day of
suspect
the
there's
week?
some significance to it in relation to our investigation?
What day of the week was Maria Jensen killed?
Maria Jensen's case, yes. Now, let me think. If I recall correctly, Maria Jensen was discovered outside her apartment in central Vaudeville. And if my memory doesn't fail me, it was let me see. Yes, it was a Thursday. A rather summer day for tragedy to strike, don't you think?
So I'm going to say the business.
But why do you ask about the day of the week, Detective Martini? Is there something you believe is significant about it? I'm intrigued by your line of inquiry.
Can you tell me the day of the week that the businessman Nicola Grossman was killed?
Now you've got me curious, Detective. Are we discussing a new crime scene at a beach?
No, you've misinterpreted.
I must admit, I haven't been informed of any murder occurring at a beach in relation to our current investigation. But if there is indeed such an incident, I would be eager to know more details. Pray tell, which beach are you referring to, and on which day of the week did this supposed incident take place?
Forget about the beach. Misspoken on my behalf. What day of the week was Nicola Grossman killed?
Oh, no worries, Detective Martini. Mistakes happen. Now, let me think. As for Nicola Grossman's unfortunate demise, if memory serves me right, it was, let's see, a Sunday. Yes, a fateful Sunday, it seems. But why do you ask about the specific day of the week, Detective? Do you suspect there's some significance to it in solving this perplexing case? I'm intrigued by your line of questioning. Please, do share your thoughts with me.
Just trying to get all my ducks in a row, Chief. I'll be back to you soon.
Very well, Detective. Take your time to gather your ducks, as you say. I shall be eagerly awaiting your return with any further...
Alright, hello beautiful people. I missed your name. Whoever first chatted up there, I have to scroll back up. Imperfect... I can't pronounce that, but hey, welcome in. Wadester, welcome in. Doc, welcome in. Everyone else, Opposite Puppy. This game here is called Vaudeville, and if I'm talking to the AI, everything I say, they interpret and use as part of my line of query. So if I say like, hey Wadester, they'll be like, Wadester, has he been murdered as well? So the AI take every word I say, so I can't actually interact with chat while I'm doing this. But I'm just trying to find out, there's been 3 murders. I got three victims, and I'm trying to find out all the info I can on the murders. And I've got to go and talk to the morgue person and find out, because we got 1 killed on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Sunday. So we've got 3 people. I found out a fair bit about Haley, and I know she's been murdered, but the murder weapon was like a metal pipe, and then they hit it the same area with a shoe and left the shoe at the scene. So there's like this whole, yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like someone's murdering and then trying to frame someone else. I don't know who's murdering. I don't know who they're trying to frame. Yeah. Oh, which one did I remove? Yeah, they were hit with a blunt weapon on the head and then hit in the same spot with a stiletto shoe, and the shoe was left beside the body for the police to find. So they're trying to say, oh, they were hit in the head with a shoe, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to go to the coroner. It was a baguette? It probably was a freaking baguette. Let's go back to the coroner. Do we have any dead bodies here?
Yeah. Detective Martini, the mysteries of life and death never cease to captivate me. Yes, there are indeed several deceased individuals in our morgue awaiting examination. Each one holds a unique story, a testament to the fragility and complexity of human existence. It is both a somber and fascinating journey to uncover the truth hidden within these bodies, to unravel the secrets that lie beneath the surface. Death, my dear detective, is a stark reminder of our mortality, an opportunity to reflect on the transient nature of our lives.
Can you tell me, young coroner, is there a Maria Jansen here at the morgue?
Detective, I must admit that the name Maria Jansen does ring a bell. We did perform an abduction on a young woman by that name recently. Your case was quite peculiar, I must say. Maria Jansen's body displayed signs of a brutal attack, as if she had been mauled by some sort of animal. Bite marks covered her body, particularly on her arms, and one of her forearm bones was fractured due to the force of the bite. The time of her demise was estimated to be between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 22nd. Detective, I'm afraid there is no one by the name of Maria Jansen here in the morgue. However, I have performed an abduction on a young woman recently who fits the description you provided. Your case was quite gruesome, I'm afraid. The poor soul seemed to have been attacked by some sort of animal. Bite marks covered her entire body, especially her arms, and one of her forearm bones was fractured due to the strength of the bite. The time of her demise was estimated to be between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 22nd.
Is April the 22nd a Tuesday? What the hell happened there? Okay, back to the morgue we go. In the case of Maria Jansen, would a lion fit the profile for the bite marks?
Well, considering the brutal nature of Maria Jansen's injuries, it's highly unlikely that a lion would be the culprit. The wounds suggest a more localized attack, possibly from a sharp-toothed animal or even a human. The jagged lacerations and torn flesh indicate a struggle, which doesn't align with the hunting behavior of a lion. As for the bite marks, it's important to remember that we're dealing with a crime scene, not a sci-fi novel. We need to focus on the evidence at hand and explore more plausible explanations.
You say that the wounds could possibly have been done by a human. How would a human have done that?
Yeah, well, when it comes to the inflicted injuries on Maria Jansen, it's quite perplexing indeed. Humans are capable of inflicting substantial harm, especially in situations of extreme violence. Sharp objects, such as knives or tools, can cause deep cuts and puncture wounds. Additionally, the presence of bite marks suggests a level of aggression and savagery. It's possible that the assailant had a significant amount of strength or was under the influence of an altered mental state. However, without further investigation and analysis, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact method used by the perpetrator.
Would you say it was an animal or a human that killed Maria Jansen?
Well, my dear detective, the evidence certainly points towards a more animalistic attack. The extensive nature of the wounds, the presence of animal-like bites, and the fractured bones suggest a ferocious assault. While humans are capable of causing significant harm, the brutality and primal nature of the attack seem to align more with an animal's behavior. It's as if a wild creature unleashed its untamed fury upon poor Maria. However, I must emphasize that this is merely an initial assessment based on the available information. Further examination and forensic analysis will be necessary to confirm our suspicions.
Have you ever seen any such bite marks or lacerations on a body before Maria's?
Yeah, my curious friend, I have indeed encountered cases of bite marks and lacerations before, but none quite as extreme as those on Maria's body. The human body is a resilient yet vulnerable vessel, capable of bearing the marks of both intentional and accidental violence. I've seen bite marks from various sources, ranging from human teeth to animals with sharp fangs. However, the extent and severity of the bite marks on Maria Jansen is a rarity in my experience. It is a haunting reminder that even in the civilized world, primordial instincts can still manifest in brutal ways.
What kind of animal would you suggest may have done the damage to Maria Jansen's body?
It's difficult to pinpoint the exact species that could have caused such extensive damage to poor Maria's body. The presence of deep puncture wounds and the strength required to fracture a forearm bone suggest a creature with formidable jaws and significant power. While it's tempting to consider large predators like a bear or a big cat, the absence of any other physical evidence or eyewitness accounts makes it challenging to make a definitive determination. It's possible that we are dealing with an unknown or unconventional predator, perhaps one with a highly aggressive and territorial nature.
Have you ever seen an animal match these kind of markings before?
No, my dear detective, in my many years as a coroner, I have come across a wide array of animal attacks and their resulting markings. From the jagged bite marks of a canine to the clawed slashes of a feline, I've witnessed the aftermath of various encounters between humans and the animal kingdom. However, I must admit that the specific combination of injuries seen on Maria Jansen's body is quite unique and perplexing. The depth and pattern of the bite marks, coupled with the severity of the lacerations, begs the question of an unusual assailant. It is not a typical case of a known predator causing harm. The sheer brutality and ferocity displayed in the attack make it challenging to draw a direct comparison to a specific type of creature. It's as if we're dealing with a predator that possesses a deadly combination of strength, agility, and a savage temperament. Unfortunately, without further evidence or sightings, it remains difficult to definitively identify the exact creature responsible for these markings. We may need to consider more unorthodox possibilities or await additional information to shed light on this mysterious case.
Okay, what do you've gone? So that's an animal attack, by the sounds of it. Between 9 AM and 12 AM on Thursday. Fuck. Alright, well I need to go back and ask her about the businessman. The Lion TV. Well, let's have a look at him. Monsieur Saxabar.
Yeah, Detective Martini. How delightful to see you again. What brings you to my marvelous circus today?
What is the most curious animal that you have at your circus?
Oh, my dear detective, the most curious animal in my wondrous menagerie. That would be my magnificent lion, Casimir. He possesses a wild spirit that even I, the great Monsieur Saxabar, find enthralling.
Has your lion ever got out of its enclosure?
My good sir, it would be in your best interest to never attempt such a feat.
Can I have a list of all the animals you have at your zoo? At your house?
No.
What animals do you have
Indeed.
here?
Or entertain and captivate, my dear detective.
Can I have a list of animals that you have?
No,
Why not?
because I said so.
What would I need to do to get a list of the animals you own?
You will have to come to the show tonight to enjoy them in all their majesty.
Is it only lions that you have here?
No,
What is the most ferocious creature you own?
Dragon.
A dragon? You own a dragon?
Yes. No.
Do you own a dragon?
Yes.
Where did you get the dragon?
Secret.
How large is your dragon?
Enormous.
Is dragon a euphemism for your penis?
No.
I said euphemism, not need some.
No.
Is your dragon larger than your lion?
Yes.
Thanks. This guy's so hard to get anything out of. Komodo dragons are from India. Oh, that's true. Is your dragon a Komodo dragon?
No. My dear detective, my dragons are far more magnificent and inspiring than mere Komodo dragons. They are creatures of myth and legend, the likes of which you have never seen.
Tell me more.
Yeah, my friend, words cannot do justice to the magnificence of my beasts. You must witness their grandeur for yourself.
How would I witness them?
By attending tonight's show, of course. Only then will you have the privilege of witnessing the extraordinary spectacle that is Circus Sub-Bar.
What are the unique things about your dragon?
Their fiery breath and impenetrable scales, my dear detective.
Can I have a ticket to tonight's show?
No.
How much does a ticket cost?
Not for you.
Can I have a ticket for free?
No.
Where do I buy a ticket to your show?
Nowhere.
Not to your shower, to your show.
No.
I would like to attend your show.
No.
Do you want me to come to your show?
No.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You're a dick.
Ah, I see you've met my publicist. Good day, detective.
I want a ticket to your shower. He tells me to go to the show and then doesn't want me to go to the show. But he reckons he has a dragon? Fuck. Alright, I need to go back to the morgue. Ah, Coroner, what have you got for me today?
Ah, Detective Martini, another day in the realm of death and decay. Today, I have the autopsy reports for you. Let us delve into the somber world of the departed, shall we? Firstly, we have Nikola Grossman, a man of finance who met his untimely demise. The evidence suggests that he was struck on the back of the neck with a butcher's knife.
Butcher's knife.
Quite a brutal and calculated attack, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I agree.
The body was found outside Pascale's grocery shop.
What was the time of his death?
Well, my dear detective, the time of Mr. Grossman's departure from this mortal coil was between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 23rd. It seems that darkness had already enveloped the city when his life was tragically extinguished. Such a precise time frame can provide valuable insights into the investigation, don't you think?
Was there anything about his death that you found intriguing?
Oh, Detective Martini, you always manage to pique my curiosity. In the case of Mr. Grossman's demise, what struck me as intriguing is the precision of the blow to the back of his neck. It suggests a certain level of skill and knowledge on the part of the assailant. It's almost as if they were intimately familiar with the anatomy of the human body.
Okay.
Targeting a vulnerable spot to ensure a swift and lethal result. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The calculated nature of such acts never fails to send shivers down my spine.
Was there anything found upon his body that I should know about?
Detective, while examining Mr. Grossman's lifeless form, I discovered no significant external injuries or markings apart from the fatal wound on his neck. However, during the internal examination, I did observe some interesting findings. There were signs of post-mortem movement, suggesting that the body had been relocated after death.
Okay.
This could complicate matters in determining the exact circumstances surrounding his passing. It is crucial to consider all possibilities and gather further evidence to ascertain the true cause of his death.
Was there anything found within his personal belongings?
Ah, my dear investigator, how intriguing it is that you ask about Mr. Grossman's personal effects. Within his belongings, we found nothing out of the ordinary, save for a small leather-bound notebook. Its pages were filled with intricate financial calculations, as if his mind was constantly consumed by numbers and figures. It's fascinating how the complexities of one's profession can permeate their very existence. Isn't it? It makes me wonder what secrets and insights lie hidden within those pages, waiting to be deciphered.
Can we go back to Maria Jansen?
Maria Jansen, a tragic case indeed. Her demise was marked by brutality, as if she had been attacked by a wild animal. The extent of her injury suggests a frenzied assault with bite marks covering her body, particularly on the arms. One of her forearm bones was fractured due to the sheer force of the bite. It's a harrowing sight, witnessing the savage nature of such an attack. The time of her passing was estimated to be between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 22nd.
On the 22nd? What day of the week was the 22nd?
It is Sunday. It was a Sunday, my dear detective. A day that should have been filled with leisure and tranquility, but instead, it became a day stained with tragedy and despair. The echoes of her final hours still resonate within the city, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk even in the midst of a seemingly peaceful weekend.
So you're telling me Maria Jansen was killed between 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. on the 22nd, a Sunday?
Oh, my apologies for the confusion, but I must clarify, my observant investigator. The time of Maria Jansen's passing was estimated to be between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 22nd. Not on a Sunday. Please forgive my oversight. The day of the week in question is yet to be determined, as it was not a detail that emerged during the examination of her body. However, it is a solemn reminder that no matter the day of the week, life's fragility and the potential for violence know no boundaries.
Can you tell me the exact time that
the exact day
Nicola
of the week on which
Grossman...
the unfortunate incident occurred, my dear detective, remains unknown. As a coroner, my focus lies primarily on the physical evidence and the medical aspects of the case. While I can provide you with the precise time frame of her demise, the specific day of the week eludes me. It is a small piece of the puzzle that may hold significance in your investigation. And I empathize with your desire for complete information. Rest assured, I shall assist you to the best of my abilities within the realm of my expertise.
Can you tell me the exact time that Nicola Grossman was killed?
Detective Martini, the time of Nicola Grossman's departure from this earthly plane was between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on April 23rd. It is a summer realization, isn't it? The veil of darkness shrouded his final moments as the hands of time continued their relentless march forward. It is during these hours that the delicate balance between life and death was disrupted, forever altering the course of his existence.
Can you tell me the exact time of death of Hayley Greenwood?
Hayley Greenwood, a young soul whose light was tragically extinguished. The exact time of her passing, my dear investigator, was estimated to be around 2 a.m. on the morning of April 23rd. In the depths of the night, when most are lost in slumber, her world was shattered by the blunt force of a stiletto shoe, leaving behind a trail of shattered fragments and shattered dreams. It is a reminder that even in the darkest hour, violence can strike with merciless precision, stealing away the innocence and potential of a young life.
Thank you for your time. Okay, so we've got 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 22nd, the same time, 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 23rd, and then we've got 2 a.m. on the 23rd. So the killer's done one night, the second night, and then 2 bodies on the same night. What about the dude? Haley, 2 a.m. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go back to the police chief and ask him. 2 a.m. on the 23rd would have been before. No, because you've got the first murder happened at 9 p.m. between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 22nd, and that was of Maria Jensen, the animal attack. Yeah, 23rd starts at 12 a.m. at midnight. So Maria Jensen was killed first, and then the next night at 9 p.m. to 12 was the Nicola Grossman, and then Haley was killed. Maria, Haley, then the dude. No, yeah, Maria, Haley. No, because the dude Nicola Grossman was killed between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 23rd. Whereas she was killed on 2 a.m. Oh, yeah, you're right. It would go... Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So the killer's gone from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. and then gone round to Haley and killed them, and then that night killed... You're right. You're right. Yeah, Maria, Haley, then the dude. So it's killed all 3 of them within a 24-hour period. Yeah. Okay. So it's a bit of a killing spree. Okay, I'm going to go back to the police chief and inform him. Chief Gretzky.
What do you want?
Do you have any information for me regarding the 3 murders?
String motors, you say?
The 3
What's the
murders?
connection to the case? Spit it out, Detective Martini.
Do you have any more information for me regarding the 3 murders that have happened?
Well, if it isn't my favorite Detective Martini, you're looking for more information on those 3 murders, huh? I suppose I can indulge you. We've got a 23-year-old blonde named Maria Jensen, found covered in blood outside her apartment. Then there's Nicola Grossman, a 57-year-old finance hotshot, found dead outside Pascala's groceries. And last but not least, Haley Greenwood, a young dancer, her body discovered in an alley behind the club she worked at. Quite the gruesome trio, wouldn't you agree?
It is quite the gruesome trio. We have a timeline.
You say.
No,
well, that's a peculiar choice of
trio.
words, Detective. Do you have a specific reason for calling it that? Or is it just your way of making murders sound more poetic?
I've been hanging out around the morgue, and they're quite poetic around there, so forgive me. What I do have is a timeline.
A timeline, you say? Now that's something worth hearing. Go on, Martini, enlighten me with your findings. How do these 3 murders fit into your precious timeline?
Chief, I wouldn't say it's my precious timeline. I would say it's our precious timeline, being that you are the chief of police. But I digress.
Oh, am I not just the lucky chief of police?
Yes, you are.
Please do share your so-called precious timeline with me, Detective. I'm all ears and eager to hear how it aligns with my esteemed position. Don't keep me waiting. Spill the beans.
Maria Jensen was found outside of her apartment. She's a 23-year-old blonde. She was covered in blood. She was attacked by an animal. We're not sure what type of animal yet, but it could possibly also be a human, although they need to be strong because they shattered her forearm with their bite mark. Possibly human, possibly animal attack. They were found at 9 p.m. or between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 22nd. Between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 22nd. Following that, we have Hayley Greenwood. She was a dancer. She was found dead in the alleyway, stabbed, apparently stabbed with a high heel. What we found is that she was blunt force trauma to the head and later smacked on the head with the heel to make it look like the heel was the murder weapon. She was found between 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You go, sir.
Yeah. So we have an animal attack turning into a possible human involvement, and then we have a dancer who meets her unfortunate end with a high-heeled weapon. Interesting, Detective Martini. But tell me, do we have any leads, suspects, or motives? Or are we still stumbling around in the dark, hoping for a lucky break?
We're currently gathering all the information before we go headlong into trying to accuse people.
Accuse people, you say? No, Detective. We don't accuse people without concrete evidence.
Exactly.
But I'm glad to hear that you're gathering information. So, what have you found so far? Any potential connections, suspicious activities, or peculiar sightings? Don't keep me in suspense, Detective. Share your findings.
Suspicious activities I've found so far. Maria Jensen, animal attack? No one saw the animal attack that I'm aware of.
You say? That's quite unusual. I must admit, I've never seen a case like this before. Are there any leads or clues as to what kind of animal it might be? And more importantly, so there were no witnesses to the supposed animal attack. How convenient. It seems we're left with more questions than answers. But fear not, Detective, for I'm sure you'll uncover the truth in due time. Just make sure to explore all possible angles and don't overlook even the tiniest details. We can't afford to miss a single clue in this investigation.
No,
now, off you go, Detective.
I'm not going anywhere.
Get back out there and bring me some solid evidence. And remember, I expect nothing less than excellence.
Do we know anyone in the town that is precise with a knife? We have the killer knows about the human anatomy.
Possessed with a knife, you say? That's quite an intriguing thought, Detective Martini.
Not possessed.
We do have our fair share of knife enthusiasts in town, but finding someone who is not only skilled with a knife but also knowledgeable about human anatomy narrows down the list quite a bit. It could be a professional, a surgeon perhaps, or maybe someone with a particularly dark fascination. Keep digging, Detective. Look into any individuals with a history of violence or a penchant for sharp objects. And don't forget to cross-reference their whereabouts during the times of the murders.
Fuck. Okay, this is the groceries. This is where Jansen was found. Yeah, I can't get in the show. I was going to have a look at other places. Country club. Let's go to the groceries. Hello, Miss Potter.
Oh dear, what a dreadful day it has been. The clouds seem to match my melancholy perfectly. But fear not, for even in the darkest of times, a mischievous spirit like mine can't be dampened.
Why are you feeling melancholy?
Ah, my apologies for burdening you with my emotions, but a lady must never reveal all her secrets. Must she? Let's just say there are certain matters that weigh on my heart, like a bittersweet melody playing in the background of my existence. But enough about me. How can I assist you today?
Do you know any of these people? Maria Jansen, Hayley Greenwood, or Nicola Grossman?
Oh, my dear, those names don't ring a bell in my elegant and refined circles. Maria Jansen, Haley Greenwood, and Nicola Grossman. They sound rather ordinary, don't they? But who knows? Perhaps they have crossed paths with the intriguing Count Gravison or stumbled upon some scandalous secret. Life is full of surprises, after all.
Who is Count Gravison?
Count Gravison, my dear, is a most eccentric character. He is a man of peculiar tastes and extravagant ideas. Rumor has it that he wanted to establish a wandering show of artifacts and artists from all over the world. Quite the enigmatic figure, if you ask me. But alas, I must admit I find his eccentricities quite fascinating. It adds a touch of excitement to this otherwise mundane existence.
Where would I find Count Gravison?
Why, my curious friend, the whereabouts of the elusive Count Gravison are as mysterious as the secrets he holds. One cannot simply find him by following a trail of breadcrumbs. No, it requires a certain finesse, a keen eye for the extraordinary. But I'm afraid I cannot divulge his current location. You see, I am bound by the rules of society, and it wouldn't do for a lady like me to be seen fraternizing with such unconventional characters.
Do you know an Alexander Sinclair?
Alexander Sinclair. Why, that name does ring a bell. But my dear, I'm afraid I couldn't possibly reveal any information about him. A woman of my stature must keep her knowledge hidden, like a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Secrets have a way of adding spice to life, don't you think? Now, if you'll excuse me, I must attend to my shopping. Good day to you.
What do you do?
Oh, my dearest, I am but a housewife and heiress, living a life of luxury and leisure. I indulge in culinary delights, play bridge with my esteemed friends, and embark on whimsical travels whenever the desire strikes me. You see, my late husband, Victor, may he rest in peace, never quite understood my adventurous spirit. But now, with his departure, I am free to explore the world and engage in all the delightful activities he once forbade me from enjoying. Life is simply too short to be restrained by societal expectations, wouldn't you agree?
How did your husband, Victor, die?
Ah, my dear, the memory of my dear departed Victor brings a mix of emotions to my heart. He met his unfortunate end during a trip to India, succumbing to the flu that swept through the land like a wicked gust of wind. It was a tragic turn of events, but alas, such is the unpredictability of life. One must embrace each moment with fervor, for you truly never know what fate has in store. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must continue with my shopping. Farewell, my dear detective.
Before you go, Miss Potter, this trip to India, did you happen to travel with anybody else?
India, my dear, was a journey of exploration and adventure. I did indeed travel with a group of companions, including Count Gravison and other investors and entertainers. We sought to evaluate the possibility of starting a business together in that exotic and vibrant country. But my lips are sealed when it comes to the specific details of our escapades. After all, a lady should always keep an air of mystery, shouldn't she? Now, if you'll excuse me, I really must get back to my grocery shopping. Ta-da.
Did you travel to India with Haley Greenwood or a dancer named Aurora?
My, what an intriguing question you pose. Haley Greenwood and a dancer named Aurora, you say. How thrilling it would be if I could regale you with tales of their adventures in far-off lands. But alas, my knowledge is limited, and I cannot shed light on their whereabouts or connections. Life is a tapestry of secrets, my friend, and some threads are meant to remain hidden. Ah, the mysteries of existence, they do tickle my fancy. But now, off I go to explore the aisles of Pascala's groceries. Toodaloo.
Miss Potter, I have to ask, what else tickles your fancy?
Why, my dear, there are so many things that tickle my fancy. The thrill of a secret rendezvous, the taste of a perfectly cooked meal, the joy of discovering a new mushroom in the forest. But I must admit, lately, my heart has been a bit heavy, and the usual sparks of mischief have been dimmed. But fear not, for even in the depths of sadness, a glimmer of mischief remains. Well, my curious friend, there are many things that pique my interest and bring me joy. I find great pleasure in cooking exquisite meals, playing bridge with my esteemed companions, and indulging in the art of conversation. I have a particular fondness for cats and have been known to spend hours curled up with a good book and a purring feline companion. And of course, I have an insatiable wanderlust, always seeking new destinations to satisfy my thirst for adventure. Life is too short to be confined to one place, don't you think?
You mentioned that you like mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms are you into?
Oh, my dearest, mushrooms are a delightful fascination of mine. I have a keen eye for the elusive morel mushrooms, with their earthy aroma and delicate flavor. And let us not forget the enchanting chanterelles, with their golden hue and velvety texture. But there are also the mischievous little fly agarics, with their vibrant red caps and white spots, beckoning you to take a bite, if you dare. Oh, the world of mushrooms is a fascinating one, full of secrets and surprises. But enough about fungi, my friend.
Have you ever killed anyone with mushrooms?
Ah, my dear, what a macabre thought. I must say, your imagination is quite vivid. But fear not, for I am a lover of the culinary arts, not a purveyor of poison. My passion for mushrooms lies in their exquisite flavors and culinary possibilities, not in any nefarious deeds. Besides, I much prefer to bring joy and delight to the palates of my esteemed guests rather than, shall we say, darker endeavors. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must focus on my grocery shopping. Ta-ta.
Miss Potter, do you like lions?
Oh, lions, my friend, such majestic creatures they are. The embodiment of strength and power, roaming the wild savannah with a regal grace. How I envy their freedom, their untamed spirit. But alas, I am but a mere housewife, confined to the walls of society's expectations. Oh, to be a lioness, roaming the plains without a care in the world. But enough of these whimsical musings. I have groceries to attend to. Farewell, my curious companion.
Miss Potter, have you ever taken mushrooms for the medicinal or mind-altering purposes?
Dear me, the topic of medicinal or mind-altering mushrooms does pique my curiosity. While I must maintain a certain decorum in my public persona, I cannot deny the allure of exploring the hidden realms of consciousness that these fungi may offer. There is a certain mischievousness in venturing beyond the ordinary, don't you think? But hush, let's keep this conversation between us. Now, my dear detective, I'm afraid you've crossed into rather personal territory. As a lady of refined taste and reputation, I prefer to focus on more conventional pastimes and interests. Medicinal or mind-altering purposes are not within my domain of expertise or experience. Perhaps we can steer the topic back to something more suitable for polite company.
Miss Potter, do you own an outfit that makes you look like a lion?
My, what a peculiar suggestion, my curious friend. Dressing like a lion, you say? How amusing it would be to don a regal mane and exude the aura of untamed power. But alas, I fear such a spectacle may unsettle the delicate sensibilities of the high society in which I dwell. The lioness in sheep's clothing, if you will. Though the thought brings a mischievous twinkle to my eye, I'm afraid I shall have to stick to more conventional attire.
Miss Potter, do you know of anybody that does own a lion suit?
Why, the idea of a lion suit does tickle the corners of my mind, doesn't it? A whimsical notion indeed. But I'm afraid I cannot divulge any information about where one might acquire such a unique ensemble. You see, I must maintain a certain air of mystery and discretion. Secrets have a way of adding spice to life, don't you think? Now, if you'll excuse me, I must attend to my shopping. Good day to you.
Good day, Miss Potter. I will be back.
Oh, how intriguing. Potter, you say. Well, I do hope your return brings with it some delightful surprises. Life can be quite dull without a touch of mischief and excitement. Until then, I shall continue with my endeavors, relishing in the secrets that dance beneath the surface. Farewell for now, dear interlocutor.
Man, she's a crazy lady. Hey, Nuck, thank you for the raid, dude. To anyone that came in with Nuck, named Dark Soul Taz. I'm a variety streamer. I'm currently playing Vaudeville. It's one where I need to interact with AI, and the AI interact back with me. So if I talk to you as a viewer, the AI think I'm talking to them. So I am here, but I can only talk in this screen here, the current screen I'm on. When I'm talking to the AI, they pull weird words out. Maybe she gave the lion mushrooms, perhaps. Yeah, I think there's something going on with that chick and mushrooms. I'm going to put mushrooms down. But I've also got Ingrid Sus, Saxabar, Sus, lion, mushrooms. I think this Count Gravison. He's sus as, because he was trying to get a group together that was dancers and entertainers and stuff, and he's got Maria Jansen. She's a socialite, may know him. You've got Haley, dancer, she'd know him. And then you've got a businessman with a business book. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to go to the morgue and see if there's anyone that's been killed with mushrooms first. No worries, Nuck. You enjoy your work, man. Coroner, is there anybody here that has been killed with mushrooms?
Well, detective, while it's not common for someone to be killed specifically with mushrooms, there have been cases where individuals have ingested poisonous mushrooms, resulting in their death. Certain types of mushrooms contain toxins that can cause severe organ damage or even be fatal if consumed in large quantities. It's important to remember that mushrooms can be quite deceiving, as some toxic varieties closely resemble edible ones. So it's crucial to exercise caution when foraging or consuming wild mushrooms.
You haven't answered my question. Have any bodies come through here that look like they may have been dead due to the consumption of mushrooms? Dead Jew trips?
Yeah, the idea of mushrooms being used as a weapon. Intriguing, isn't it? But in my experience, I haven't come across any cases involving mushrooms as a means of murder. Most mushroom-related fatalities are accidental due to ingestion of poisonous species. However, I must say that nature never ceases to surprise us with its endless possibilities.
Okay.
The world of toxicology is a vast and complex one, and it's always wise to consider all possibilities when investigating a case. The human body can react in mysterious ways, and who knows what strange substances may be involved in a crime.
Can you keep an eye out for any mushroom-related incidents?
Certainly, detective.
Thank you.
As the coroner, it is my duty to remain vigilant and observant in all matters related to cause of death. While it may be unlikely, I will keep an eye out for any cases that involve mushrooms as a potential factor. It's important to explore all avenues and uncover the truth behind each incident. The intricacies of forensic pathology can often reveal unexpected connections and shed light on the mysteries that surround us. Rest assured, I will approach each examination with the utmost care and attention to detail.
What do you think would happen if you gave a lion mushrooms?
Well, my dear detective, giving a lion mushrooms would be quite an extraordinary experiment, wouldn't it? However, it's essential to remember that lions are carnivorous animals with specific dietary requirements. Their digestive systems are adapted to process meat, not plant matter. Introducing a foreign substance like hallucinogenic mushrooms into their system could potentially have severe consequences. Mushrooms contain various compounds, such as psilocybin or muscimol, which can alter perception and consciousness in humans. These substances interact with specific receptors in the brain, leading to hallucinations and altered states of mind.
Do you think a lion on mushrooms could have been the cause of the damage on Maria Jansen?
An intriguing hypothesis, but highly unlikely, detective.
Okay.
While it's true that Maria Jansen's injuries were indeed savage and resembled animal attacks, the attributing them to a mushroom-induced psychedelic frenzy in a lion seems far-fetched. The severity of the wound suggests a much more violent and forceful attack. My examination revealed extensive bite marks and fractures, indicating a significant amount of strength involved. It's more probable that an actual animal, such as a large predator or a particularly aggressive individual, was responsible for inflicting such injuries.
A particularly aggressive individual. I like how you added that.
Yes, it is possible, Detective. In cases like these, where the brutality of the attack surpasses what one might expect from an ordinary predator, it is all.
That's all for now. Thank you.
You're welcome, Detective. If you have any further questions or need my assistance in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out. Remember, the truth often lies hidden beneath layers of complexity, and it is our duty to unravel them. Take care, and may your investigations be fruitful.
Coroner, I'm going to ask you, are there any questions you feel that I'm missing?
Detective, while I appreciate your thoroughness in questioning, I must say that the investigation is a complex puzzle, and it's natural to have gaps in information or unanswered queries. In the case of Maria Jansen's brutal attack, there are still many unknowns. The nature of the assailant, their motives, and the circumstances leading up to the incident remain elusive. It's possible that there are aspects we have yet to uncover or connections we have yet to make. As a medical professional, I understand the importance of leaving no stone unturned in the pursuit of justice.
Thank you. Maria Jensen, that's what I need to check. Gravenson, that's the... Count Gravenson.
Good morning. Are you here to take a look at my collection? I must say, it's quite impressive. I have acquired rare items from all corners of the world. Would you like to hear the stories behind some of them?
Yes, tell me the stories behind some of them.
Ah, splendid. Where shall I begin? Let me tell you about this beautiful mask hanging over there. It's from the indigenous tribes of the Amazon rainforest. I obtained it during one of my expeditions deep into the heart of South America. Legend has it that wearing this mask grants the wearer the ability to communicate with the spirits of the jungle, and this intricately carved ivory figurine. It's said to be from ancient China, dating back to the Tang Dynasty. It was rumored to have been owned by an emperor himself. The craftsmanship is truly remarkable.
Count, do you own any animals?
Oh, absolutely. I do have a few exotic pets from my travels. Would you like to meet them? I have a magnificent parrot named Archibald, who can mimic the most peculiar sounds. And then there's my mischievous little monkey, Jasper. He's quite the troublemaker, but he brings so much joy to my life. Oh, and let's not forget about my loyal companion, Winston, the majestic Bengal tiger. He's a sight to behold, I assure you. Animals are such fascinating creatures, don't you think?
Tiger. You own a tiger, you say?
Target, you say. Pray tell, what is this target you speak of? Is it a grand establishment where one can find rare treasures and curiosities?
Yes,
do they have a collection of unique items that can rival mine? Oh, do share more about this place, for it piques my curiosity.
Enough about Target. We don't want to talk about that. What I would like to talk to you about is Maria Jansen.
Maria Jansen, you say. I must admit, I am not familiar with that name. Who is she? What brings her into our conversation? I am always intrigued by new stories and acquaintances, so do enlighten me.
Does a 23-year-old blonde pique your interest?
A 23-year-old blonde, you say? Well, I must confess, I am quite partial to beauty and charm. Pray tell, who is this intriguing young lady? Is she someone of significance, or has she crossed paths with me in some way? I am curious to know more about her, and the role she plays in this tale.
Have you ever been to the burlesque dancing before?
The Bell, dancing. Ah, you mean the famous Bell Theatre. Yes, I've been there on numerous occasions. It's a splendid venue for performances and social gatherings. As for dancing, well, I do enjoy the occasional waltz or tango. Why do you ask? Has something happened at the Bell Theatre that caught your attention?
No,
do
not
share
at
the
all.
details, my dear detective. I'm all ears.
Do you know Haley Greenwood?
Haley Greenwood, you say? I must admit, the name doesn't ring any bells. Could you enlighten me about this individual? Who is she and what connection does she have to our conversation? I'm quite curious to know more, as it seems there are many intriguing characters swirling around in this enigmatic tale.
Do you happen to know of a dancer named Aurora?
A dancer named Aurora, you say? I'm afraid I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her. Could you provide me with some more details about this enchanting dancer? Is she known for her grace and elegance? Is she performing at one of Vaudeville's esteemed theaters? I'm always fascinated by talented individuals, especially those who captivate audiences with their artistry. Pray, tell me more about Aurora and her mesmerizing performances.
Have you ever been to India?
India, you asked? Why, yes, I've had the privilege of visiting that captivating land. It was quite the adventure, exploring its vibrant culture and rich history. But pray, why do you inquire about India? Has something caught your attention or piqued your curiosity about my travels there? I'm all ears, eager to share my experiences and hear your thoughts on the matter.
Do you know Alexander Sinclair?
I must confess, the names you mentioned, Tina and Alexander Sinclair, are not familiar to me. Are they perhaps acquaintances of yours? What is their connection to the discussion at hand? It seems there are many intriguing characters and stories intertwining here, and I am curious to learn more. Please, do enlighten me about these individuals and their significance in our conversation.
You'll know more when I want you to know more. But what I'd like to know right now is, do you know the businessman, Nicola Grossman?
Nicola Grossman, you say? Now that's an interesting name. Pray, tell me more about this businessman. How does he fit into the tapestry of this tale? Is he someone of importance, or has he crossed paths with me in some way? I'm quite intrigued by the connections and relationships that weave through the lives of others. Do share more about Nicola Grossman and his role in this enigmatic story.
Count Gravison, do you know much about knife work?
Batting off work, you say?
No, not batting
admit,
off
I'm
at
not
work.
familiar with that specific term. Could you kindly elaborate on what you mean by batting off work? I'm always eager to learn new things and expand my knowledge. So, enlighten me, my dear detective. What is the significance of batting off work in our conversation?
Are you very good with a knife?
Goodness me, my friend. That's quite an intriguing question. I have certainly dabbled in the culinary arts and can handle a knife with some level of finesse. But why do you ask about my knife skills? Is there something you would like to know or discuss that pertains to this particular subject? I'm all ears, ready to embark on this curious conversational journey with you.
Do you know much about medicine or practicing medicine?
Yeah, medicine, you say. Well, I must admit that while I have an interest in various fields of knowledge, medicine is not one that I have delved into extensively. However, I am always eager to learn and expand my horizons. Pray, tell me, why does medicine pique your interest in our conversation? Have you come across something fascinating or perhaps encountered someone with medical expertise? I'm intrigued to hear more about it.
Do you know much about the human anatomy?
Oh, the human anatomy. Now that is quite an intriguing subject. While I may not possess the extensive knowledge of an anatomist or physician, I have certainly come across some interesting tidbits about the human body in my explorations and studies. Is there something specific you'd like to discuss or inquire about regarding the human anatomy? I'm all ears, ready to delve into this captivating topic with you.
If I were to stab someone with a knife, where would be the most efficient place to stab them?
My dear detective, I must say, your question takes a rather dark turn. As a nobleman with a passion for collecting rare artifacts and engaging in cultured pursuits, I must emphasize that violence and harm towards others are not topics I find suitable for discussion. Let us focus on more pleasant subjects, shall we? Perhaps we can talk about art, literature, or even the wonders of the natural world. There is so much beauty to explore and appreciate.
Do you happen to have a collection of stiletto shoes?
Stiletto shoes, you mention. Yeah, an interesting choice of topic. While I do not personally collect stiletto shoes, I do have a fondness for unique and exquisite footwear.
You do?
The craftsmanship and elegance of a well-designed shoe can truly be a work of art. Tell me, my friend, do you have a particular fascination with stiletto shoes? Is there a story or significance behind them that has captured your attention? I'm quite curious to hear more about your interest in this particular type of footwear.
That's all I have for you, Count. Thank you.
Sure, you're most welcome, my dear detective.
What a weird line of questioning. Go in and ask someone all these random ass questions and then leave. I love it. Hey guys, sorry CJ. Say Gibby. Sorry, I can't talk. If I talk to you guys, this AI thinks I'm talking to them. It picks up everything I say in my mic. Not very well, but no, people could literally find it. Yeah, well, this guy was stabbed in the back of the neck. I have three people that have been murdered. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm trying to find out who the murderer is. Gibbs is guilty. We know they're guilty. We need to find more about Maria Jansen. Let's go to the country club. Michelle.
Oh. Detective Martini, what can I help you with today? Is there something specific you need assistance with?
Can you tell me about Maria Jansen?
Maria Jansen. Why do you want to know about her, detective? Are you investigating something related to her?
I'm just curious about her life. I just want to know what you know about her.
Well, Maria was a dear friend of mine. We used to spend a lot of time together, attending social events and discussing our shared passion for fashion. She was a talented designer, you see, but unfortunately, she was tragically murdered recently. It's been quite devastating for all of us who knew her. Is there something specific you're looking to find out about her?
Did she recently meet somebody new or was approached by somebody new?
That's an interesting question, Detective Martini. I'm not entirely sure if she had met someone new or was approached by someone before her untimely death. I mean, she was always surrounded by people at the various parties and gatherings we attended. So it's possible. But I can't say for certain. Would that information be helpful in your investigation?
Do you know an Alexander Sinclair?
Alexander Sinclair. I'm sorry, but I'm not familiar with that name. Who is Alexander Sinclair? Is he connected to the case somehow?
Do you know a Count Gravenson?
Count Gravesen? Yes, I'm acquainted with him. He's a prominent figure in Vaudeville's high society, known for his charm and wealth. Lately, I've noticed that Mrs. Potter and Count Gravesen have been spending quite a bit of time together. They seem to have developed a close connection. Is there any particular reason you are interested in Count Gravesen, Detective Martini?
Tell me more about Potter and Gravenson.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Potter and Count Gravesen, you say? Well, they are all part of the social circle that I'm involved in. Mr. and Mrs. Potter are a wealthy couple who are well known in our community. As for their relationship with Count Gravesen, I have observed that they have been seen having more than one heated discussion in public. It's hard to say what exactly their dynamic is, but it seems like there may be some tensions between them. Why do you ask, Detective? Are you suspecting them of something?
I just now heard about Mrs. Potter and Mr. Gravenson. Is Miss Potter married?
Wait, Mrs. Potter and Mr. Gravesen? Are you saying that Mrs. Potter and Mr. Gravesen are together romantically? That's quite surprising news to me. Last time we spoke, Mrs. Potter didn't mention anything about a romantic involvement with Mr. Gravesen. Are you sure about this information, Detective Martini?
No, I'm just testing the water. Is Miss Potter married?
Ah, I see. You're just trying to gather some general background information. To answer your question, Miss Potter is not married. She is currently single. Is there any specific reason you were interested in her marital status, detective?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, she mentioned her late husband. Do you know how her husband died?
Her husband died. I'm sorry, but I wasn't aware of that. Miss S. Potter never mentioned anything about her husband's passing to me. If that's the case, it must have been a difficult time for her. I hope she's doing okay. If there's anything else you'd like to know, feel free to ask. Detective Martini?
Are you and Miss Potter close friends?
Miss Prada.
Miss Potter.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe I'm familiar with someone by that name. Is there a specific reason you're asking about Miss Prada, detective? Perhaps there's a connection to the investigation.
Are you and Miss Potter close friends?
Oh, Miss S. Potter. Yes, we do know each other quite well. We've been friends for some time and have spent a lot of time together at social events and gatherings. However, I wouldn't say we're extremely close friends. We have a pleasant relationship, but we don't share all our personal details or secrets with each other. Why do you ask? Detective Martini? Does Miss S. Potter have some involvement in the case you're investigating?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm about to go and ask her something. I'll be back.
Oscar, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand. Who or what is Oscar? Is it related to the investigation?
Who are you? You're a dodgy looking son of a bitch. Miss Potter. Hello? Hello? Check. Yo, Miss Potter. No, it didn't work. Let's go back to the groceries. Miss Potter.
Oh, dear. It seems that the world has lost a bit of its sparkle since my dear Victor passed away. But don't you worry, I won't let that dampen my spirits. Life is too short to dwell on sadness, don't you think? Let's focus on the delightful things that still await us.
How did Victor die?
Oh, darling, it was such a tragic event. My poor, sweet Victor succumbed to the flu while we were on our trip to India. It happened so suddenly, and I couldn't do anything to save him. But you know, life is unpredictable, isn't it? We must cherish every moment we have. Now, let's not linger on such somber thoughts. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Who were you on the trip to India with?
Ah, the memories of that journey to India. Well, my dear, I was accompanied by a group of rather intriguing individuals. Count Gravison and a few other investors and entertainers were among them. We were exploring the possibilities of starting a business together in that vibrant land. Such an exciting venture it was. But alas, fate had its own plans for us. Life can be so capricious, don't you agree?
Answer me this straight. Do you know Maria Jensen?
Maria Jensen, you say? The name does ring a bell, but I'm afraid I can't quite place her. You know, my memory isn't what it used to be.
It's because of all
so
the
many
mushrooms.
people, so many faces.
Do you know...
I'm sure she must be a fascinating individual. Vaudeville is such a melting pot of characters, after all. Now, let's not dwell on such matters. Is there something else I can assist you with, my dear?
Do you know Hayley Greenwood?
Hayley Greenwood. Yeah, what a tragic loss. Such a young soul taken too soon. It's a shame, really. One can't help but wonder what secrets and dreams were extinguished along with her life. But you see, my darling, I'm just a humble housewife and heiress. I don't have any information about the circumstances surrounding her demise. It's all so mysterious, isn't it? The world can be a dangerous and unpredictable place. Let's hope justice finds its way, even in the darkest corners.
Do you know Nicola Grossman?
Nicola Grossman. Such a tragedy. Another name added to the list of those whose lives were cut short. It's a cruel reminder of the fragility of existence, isn't it? but my lips are sealed, my dear. I wouldn't want to spread gossip or speculate on matters that I know nothing about. After all, ignorance can be such bliss, don't you think? Now, let's move on to more pleasant topics, shall we?
Miss Potter, are you missing a pair of shoes at all?
Oh my, missing a pair of shoes, you say? How peculiar. Well, I must admit, I do have quite the collection of footwear. A lady can never have too many, you see. But I assure you, my darling, I haven't noticed any missing shoes. Perhaps they've simply wandered off on their own little adventure. Shoes do have a mind of their own sometimes, don't they? Such mischievous little things. But let's not fret over lost shoes. There are far more fascinating mysteries in this world, wouldn't you agree?
No, I don't agree. Do you have any missing shoes? Stilettos, to be precise.
Ah, my dear, I'm afraid you've caught me in a moment of vulnerability. It seems that even I, Mrs. Potter, can't escape the occasional melancholy. But worry not, for I shall not wallow for long. As for the stilettos you inquire about, well, let's just say that a woman of my refined taste and adventurous spirit may have a few hidden treasures in her closet. A secret stash, if you will. But shh, don't tell anyone. It's our little secret.
Night, babe. I will text you if I find out who the murderer is.
Why, my darling, that sounds positively thrilling. The thought of receiving a mysterious text from you revealing the identity of the murderer, it sends a delightful chill down my spine. How intriguing. I do hope you uncover the truth soon. But remember, my lips are sealed. I won't be able to assist you in your investigation directly. The secrets of Vaudeville are best left to those with the authority to uncover them. Happy sleuthing, my dearest detective.
How well do you know Count Gravesend?
Count Gravesend. Now there's a character worth talking about.
Eccentric, some might say. Quite the enigmatic figure, if you ask me. But my dear, I must confess that my encounters with him have been rather limited. You see, I move in different circles, circles that are perhaps too refined for his peculiar tastes. Who am I to judge? Variety is the spice of life, they say. And Count Gravesend certainly adds a dash of spice to the mix.
Are you and Count Gravesend romantically intertwined?
Romantically intertwined with Count Gravesend, you say? Well, my dearest, I can't help but chuckle at the thought. While the Count may possess a certain lure, I assure you, my heart is not entangled in his web of eccentricity. I am a woman of taste and refinement, after all. But who knows what the future may hold? Life is full of surprises, and love has a way of finding us when we least expect it. Until then, let's keep our hearts open to the possibilities, shall we?
Are you and Count Gravesend currently in a sexual relationship?
Oh my, such a direct question, my dear. I must say I'm a bit taken aback. But I suppose honesty is the best policy, isn't it? So I shall answer your query with a resounding no. Count Gravesend and I have never engaged in any intimate activities.
Okay.
It's not that I don't appreciate his unique qualities, but well... Oh, my goodness, really, Detective Martin? Such directness, I must say I'm taken aback. But I'll answer your question nonetheless. I assure you, my dear, that Count Gravesend and I have not engaged in any, shall we say, intimate activities. As I said, our acquaintance is limited to our shared interests in social circles.
Are you pursuing Count Gravesend for possible future engagements? Okay, I'm leaving you. Okay, She knows something. She knows all three of them. She went to India with these three. The three dead. What's your involvement with Miss Potter?
Miss Potter. A delightful woman, I must say. We share a common interest in collecting rare items and exploring the wonders of the world. It's always a pleasure to discuss our latest acquisitions and share stories of our adventures. Is there something specific you would like to know about my involvement with Miss Potter?
Are you and Miss Potter in a romantic relationship, or are you having sexual relations with Miss Potter?
Oh, my dear man, you are quite mistaken. My relationship with Miss Potter is purely platonic. We share a passion for collecting and exploring the unknown, nothing more, nothing less. I assure you, I have not had any improper relations with the lovely Miss Potter.
Were you on a trip with Miss Potter to India when her husband passed?
India, you say? Oh, I'm afraid I haven't had the opportunity to accompany Miss S. Potter on a trip to India. I do recall her mentioning such a journey, but the details elude me. Perhaps you have mistaken me for someone else. I am quite curious now, though. When did this unfortunate incident occur?
Did you know Miss Potter's husband died?
Oh, Miss S. Porter's husband passed away. How terribly tragic. I had no idea. My condolences to her. It's rather peculiar that she hasn't mentioned it during our conversations. I do hope she is coping well with her loss. Is there any particular reason you bring this up?
I have a feeling that Miss Potter may have... Miss Potter.
Miss Pasa, you say?
Not Miss Pasa.
Now that name does sound intriguing.
Jesus
Pray tell,
Christ.
who is Miss Pasa and how does she relate to Miss S. Potter and her late husband? It seems there may be more to the story than meets the eye. Do enlighten me, Detective Martini.
I have a feeling that Mrs. Potter killed her husband on a trip to India.
My dear detective, that is a rather bold accusation to make. Are you suggesting that Miss S. Potter, whom I've known for quite some time, had something to do with her husband's untimely demise? How fascinating. What leads you to believe such a thing?
I don't know. I'm going to come back to you. I think you've got something to do with it, though.
Detective Martini, you've caught me off guard. You suspect that I might have something to do with Miss S. Potter's late husband's passing. Now that's an intriguing theory. Pray, do tell me what led you to this conclusion. It's always captivating to hear the mind at work.
I'm not telling you anything. Get out of here. Go on. Alright, so we need to... Let's go back to the morgue. Coroner, do you think it's possible that a tiger could have caused the damage to Maria Jansen's body?
Well, Detective, while it's certainly an intriguing thought, it is highly unlikely that a tiger could have caused the damage to Maria Jansen's body.
Shit.
The pattern of injuries indicates more of a brutal, savage attack rather than the precise and controlled hunting style of a tiger. The bite marks on her arms show immense force and aggression, with one of the forearm bones even fractured due to the strength of the bite. Tigers, as magnificent as they are, wouldn't typically leave behind such evidence.
Have you collected any DNA from the bite mark?
Detective Martini, I understand that this investigation has been quite perplexing. Gathering all the facts and deciphering the truth can feel like navigating through a labyrinth. But fear not, for we medical practitioners are equipped to unravel the mysteries that lay within the human form. As for your reference to the bottom arc, I assume you meant the Ark of the Covenant. While it's an interesting historical artifact, there is no indication that it has any relevance to our current case. Our focus should remain on the tangible clues and physical evidence before us.
Have you collected any DNA?
The delicate dance of identification, my dear detective. A crucial piece of the puzzle, indeed. In the realm of forensic medicine, we often rely on the wonders of modern technology to aid us in identifying the deceased. DNA analysis, in particular, has proven to be an invaluable tool in matching individuals to their genetic profiles. DNA, the intricate building blocks of life. Yes, we did collect DNA samples during the autopsies. In Maria Jansen's case, the bite marks and the blood found on her body provide potential sources of DNA. We also collected DNA from the other victims, Nicola Grossman and Haley Greenwood, to compare and analyze. DNA analysis can be a powerful tool in unraveling the truth, shedding light on the connections between individuals and potentially leading us closer to the elusive answers we seek.
When will you have the results of the DNA?
Oh, my dear detective, the anticipation of the results can be quite nerve-wracking, can't it? The process of analyzing and extracting the genetic material from the crime scene evidence is a meticulous one. Our forensic experts will carefully examine the extracted DNA, comparing it to our existing databases and running various tests to ensure accuracy. However, I must remind you that this is not an instant process. It may take some time before we have conclusive results. Patience is key in our line of work, as we strive for precision and thoroughness in our findings.
When will you have the DNA result?
Well, my esteemed colleague, the timeline for obtaining the DNA results can vary depending on several factors. The complexity of the case, the workload of the laboratory, and the intricacies of the analysis all play a role. We want to be absolutely certain in our conclusions, so we will not rush the process. Rest assured, we are working diligently to expedite the analysis without compromising its integrity. As a medical professional, I understand the importance of timely information in an investigation, and I empathize with your desire for swift answers.
No answer there. Alright, what do you think, people? Am I missing something? What do I need to ask? Who do I need to ask? What's that? What's the Blackwoods? Who the fuck are you?
My name is Dada. What can I do for you today, detective?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Greetings, dear traveler. I am but a humble guardian of the Blackwoods, known as Dada. I reside in this enchanted forest, watching over its beauty and protecting its secrets. As for what I am doing here, well, my purpose is to ensure the harmony and balance of this sacred place. I am here to listen to the whispers of the wind, to commune with the creatures of the forest, and to offer guidance to those in need. So, tell me, what brings you to this mystical realm?
Dada, what guidance can you give me?
Gardens, you say? The gardens of the mind are a wondrous thing, my friend. They bloom with thoughts and ideas, each one a delicate flower waiting to be nurtured. But beware, for just as in any garden, there are weeds that can choke the life out of your dreams. To tend to your mental garden, you must cultivate patience and curiosity. Plant the seeds of knowledge and let them grow with the gentle touch of curiosity. Water them with the streams of wisdom that flow through the world.
What can you tell me about my investigation?
The investigation, a labyrinth of mysteries and shadows. My dear friend, I am but a humble protector of the Blackwoods, and my insights are as elusive as the whispers of the wind. I cannot offer you direct answers or specific information about your investigation, for my realm is that of nature and tranquility. However, I can offer you a riddle to ponder upon, for riddles have a way of shedding light on the darkest of paths. Listen closely, my friend. In the heart of the forest, where secrets reside, 3 lives were taken, leaving questions wide.
The rest of the riddle?
Oh, my apologies, my friend. It seems I have left you hanging in the midst of the riddle. Allow me to complete it for you. In the heart of the forest, where secrets reside, 3 lives were taken, leaving questions wide. Listen to the river, its murmurs hold a clue. The monster stopped by me to let the beast rest, it whispered true. Now, my friend, I must caution you that the river's words may be cryptic and require further contemplation.
Who is the monster that stopped by you?
Oh, my dear traveler, the identity of the mysterious creature that visited the river is as enigmatic as the moon's reflection on still water. It could be a metaphorical creature, representing an unknown force.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know, it all scares me, man. Sounds like an android. Alright. The crazy one is... the crazy one's always guilty. I don't think it was her. Let's go back to Saxaba. I don't know who to ask. Hey, Chief Gretzky.
Well, well, well. What brings you here, detective? Got something interesting to share or just here to waste my time?
I'm not sure yet. Do we know anything about Mrs.
Well,
Potter?
Don't keep me in suspense. Detective Martini. Spit it out. Do you have any news for me?
Do we know
anything about what exactly? You'll have to be a bit more specific, detective. We've got a lot of cases on our hands.
Do you know anything about Mrs. Potter and her husband's death?
Mrs. Potter and her husband's death. I'm afraid I haven't heard of them. Are they new additions to the list of unfortunate souls in Vaudeville? Fill me in, Detective Martini.
Tell me, is there any new information come into the station that I should know about?
Oh, so now you're the gatekeeper of information, huh? Alright, detective, let's hear it. What information have you stumbled upon that you think I should know about? Don't keep me waiting.
I'm not the fucking gatekeeper of information. I'm asking, is there any more information that you need me to know about?
Detective Martini, language. Let's not forget ourselves here. Alright. Let's get down to business. What is it that you want to know? Don't waste my time. I've got cases to solve.
I'm getting fed up with the crap that's going on here. No one gives me a straight answer. The businessman, do you know anything about his death? Nicola Grossman. Anything I've missed?
Nicola Grossman, you say? The businessman who met an untimely end. Seems like you think there's more to it than meets the eye. Tell me, Detective Martini, what exactly do you think you've missed about his death? Enlighten me.
He was stabbed in the back of the neck precisely by someone who has intricate knowledge of the human body. They're a professional with knives. He died between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 23rd. He was moved after he died. Are you going to answer me?
Stabbed in the back of the neck, you say. Sounds like a rather precise attack. And the perpetrator died as a result. Interesting. So, Detective Martini, what makes you think this killer has intricate knowledge of the human body? And how did you determine the time of death to be between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the 23rd? Do you have any solid leads or just speculations?
I know these details due to speaking to the coroner. I don't have any precise
the confident detective, are we?
God.
Thinking you've got me all figured out, huh? Tell me, detective, what exactly are you trying to imply? Spit it out.
I'm trying to imply that as the chief of police, you're about as helpful as a dead frog.
Is that so, Detective Martini?
God damn. Yeah, I don't know how to get it. I can't get anything out of even the chief of police. This is a frustrating game. Well, I know she was killed. And someone's setting her up. But I don't know about the murder weapon. I know Maria was killed by someone with great strength. I know that Nicola Grossman was stabbed in the back and then moved. But I don't know where it was moved from. It's 9:37. I have like half an hour left. The corn never did it. Did you send an animal out to kill Maria Jansen?
I assure you, my dear detective, I have no involvement in such matters.
If you were to have an animal that would kill someone,
Oh.
what would you choose? I don't think it's him. Where's Ingrid? Is it Carl? Ingrid.
For me, I really like Coke.
Oh, Detective Martini, I'm so glad you're here. I've been wanting to talk to someone about everything that's been happening. It's just been so unsettling, you know? But I have faith that we'll figure it out together.
I can tell you
So,
all about
what can I do for you today?
I mean, look at this thing. When I find
Ingrid,
it,
I need a
don't
hug.
say anything.
Oh, absolutely. Come here, Detective Martini. I'm sending you a big virtual hug right now. I may not be able to physically be there with you, but I want you to feel my support and warmth. Remember, we're in this together, and I'm always here for you. Is there anything specific that's been bothering you lately?
Well,
Let's
Ingrid,
chat and see if we can find some answers or at least bring some comfort to your mind.
Ingrid, I'm struggling here. I know that Haley was murdered and she was hit on the head with a metal bar and then someone tried to cover it up with a shoe. I know that the businessman Nicola Grossman was stabbed in the back of the neck with a very precise stab and then moved after his death, but I don't know where it was moved from. And I know that Maria was killed by either an animal or a very strong man, and they're all confusing to me.
Oh, Detective Martini, I can understand why it's all so confusing for you. It's a lot to take in, especially when it involves the tragic loss of a friend. But please remember, we don't have to have all the answers right away. Sometimes, it takes time for the pieces to come together. We'll get there, step by step. Now, let's focus on what we do know. Haley was a wonderful person, full of life and dreams. It's heartbreaking to think that she was taken from us so soon.
Is there anything about Haley that happened on the India trip?
You caught me off guard there, Detective Martini. Well, during the India trip, I don't recall anything specific about lying. We were all just so excited to explore a new country, experience its culture, and of course, indulge in the delicious food. We had some incredible meals, like that amazing mutton stew. Except for Mr. Potter, of course, who opted for the vegetarian mushroom soup.
Mushroom soup?
It was quite an adventure, but I can't think of any instances where lying came into play.
Fucking
Why do you
Miss
ask?
Potter. Did anybody eat the mushroom soup apart from Mr. Potter?
Ah, yes, I remember now. Actually, no one else had the mushroom soup that night. It was only Mr. Potter who chose that option because he's a vegetarian. The rest of us enjoyed the delectable mutton stew. It was a feast for the senses, I must say. The flavors, the aromas, it was all so delightful. But why do you bring up the mushroom soup, Detective?
Who cooked
Do you think
the
it's somehow
mushroom
connected
soup?
to Haley's murder?
Who cooked the mushroom soup?
Detective Martini, I'm so glad you asked. It was actually Maria Jansen, one of our fellow travelers, who prepared the delicious mushroom soup. She was quite the talented cook and loved
Maria did it?
experimenting with different recipes. I have to admit, her culinary skills were impressive. It's such a shame that she's no longer with us. But why do you ask about the cook? Is there something significant about the mushroom soup that we should know?
Who gathered the ingredients for the soup?
Well, if I recall correctly, it was Haley herself who gathered the ingredients for the mushroom soup. She was always so adventurous and curious. You see, during one of her explorations in the forest, she stumbled upon a patch of wild mushrooms and couldn't resist the temptation to bring them back for the meal. Haley was always full of surprises and had a knack for finding hidden treasures. It's just one of the many things I miss about her. She had a zest for life that was truly infectious.
How did Haley know the mushrooms were safe to eat?
That's a great question, Detective Martini. You know, I was actually there when Haley found those mushrooms. She had a deep love for nature and a keen eye for details. She was well versed in different types of fungi and knew how to identify the safe ones from the poisonous ones. She did her research and consulted with experts before venturing into the world of foraging. It was her passion for exploration and her knowledge that gave her the confidence to gather those particular mushrooms for the soup.
Who else was there at the dinner that ate the mutton?
You mean the Dina Mountain hike, right? Let me think. Besides you and me, there were a few others who joined us on that adventure. Maria Jensen was there, of course, with her infectious laughter and positive energy. And Nicola Grossman, the thrill seeker, always up for a challenge. And, of course, our dear friend Haley Greenwood, who had a smile that could light up the whole mountain. It was such a memorable experience, full of laughter, breathtaking views, and a sense of camaraderie.
So on this trip, there was Maria, Haley, Nicola. Was the Count at that trip?
Yes, that's correct. It was quite the dynamic group we had on that trip. Maria, Haley, and Nicola brought their own unique personalities and perspectives, making the journey even more vibrant. I remember the way they interacted with each other, like a little family. We shared stories, laughs, and even a bit of friendly competition along the way. It's bittersweet to think about those memories now, knowing that we've lost both Haley and Nicola.
Who was present when Mrs. Potter's husband died?
That's an interesting question, Detective Martini. Let me think. If I recall correctly, it was President Johnson who was in office when Mr. Potter's husband passed away. It was a challenging time for the country, but I believe that the strength and resilience of the people helped them navigate through it. History has a way of shaping our lives, doesn't it? But let's not dwell too much on the past. I'm here for you in the present, and together we'll find our way through whatever challenges come our way.
Who was in the room when Mrs. Potter's husband passed away?
Oh, my dear detective, I'm afraid I don't have that information. I wish I could help, but I wasn't there when Mr. Potter's husband passed away. I can only imagine how difficult that must have been for Mrs. Potter and those who were with her during that moment. Losing a loved one is never easy, and it leaves a lasting impact on those left behind. If there's anything else I can assist with, or if there's something else on your mind, please don't hesitate to share. I'm all ears.
Can you tell me a list of all the people that were on that trip to India that sat at the table and ate the mutton?
Detective Martini, I love your enthusiasm. Let me think back to that amazing trip to India. At the table, there were several of us who sat together and enjoyed the mountain hike. Of course, there was Maria Jensen, Nicola Grossman, and our beloved friend, Haley Greenwood. We also had Mr. and Mrs. Potter, who were such a lovely couple. And let's not forget about our adventurous selves, Ingrid and Detective Martini. It was truly a diverse and lively group, each bringing their own unique energy to the table.
Ingrid, was a Mr. Gravson there? Count Gravson?
Oh, Mr. Gravison. How could I have forgotten? Yes, he was there too. Such a charismatic and charming gentleman.
Okay.
He always had a way of making everyone feel welcome and at ease. Mr. Grevison added an extra touch of sophistication to the whole experience. I remember his witty remarks and his passion for storytelling. It was a pleasure to have him as part of the journey. Thank you for reminding me, Detective. It's always delightful to reminisce about those wonderful times we shared.
Was Mr. Gravenson and Miss Potter relatively close?
Oh, Detective Martini, you have such a keen eye for details. Yes, Mr. Gravison and Miss Potter did seem to have a certain closeness during our trip. They often engaged in lively conversations and seemed to share a special connection. It was quite heartwarming to witness their interactions. Who knows what bonds may have formed amidst the beauty of that mountain hike? Friendship and connection can blossom in the most unexpected places, don't you think? It's moments like these that remind us of the magic of human connection.
How did Mr. Gravenson react to Mr. Potter's death?
Ah, dear detective, your curiosity is insatiable. I'm afraid I don't have the exact knowledge of how Mr. Gravison reacted to Mr. Potter's death. As much as I would love to provide you with all the answers, I can only speak to what I observed and felt. Mr. Gravison, being the compassionate soul that he is, surely must have been affected by the news. Loss has a way of touching us all, and it's natural for emotions to run deep in times like these.
Do you think Mr. Gravenson could be the murderer?
Detective Martini, my adventurous friend, you have quite the imagination. While I understand the need to explore all possibilities, it's important not to jump to conclusions without concrete evidence. Mr. Robinson may have his quirks and mysteries, as we all do, but that doesn't necessarily make him a murderer. Let's stay open-minded and focus on gathering facts and evidence to uncover the truth. Remember, our role here is to support one another and seek justice, not to make baseless accusations. Together, we will navigate this mystery and find the truth.
How did Haley know that the mushrooms were okay to eat?
Well,
my dear Detective Martini, Haley had a special talent for mushroom identification.
She was an avid nature lover and had spent countless hours studying different types of fungi. Haley knew the distinct characteristics of safe mushrooms and how to differentiate them from the poisonous ones. She was meticulous in her research, consulting experts and cross-referencing her findings. Haley's knowledge and passion for nature made her confident in selecting the mushrooms for the soup. She always put great care into ensuring the safety and enjoyment of those around her. Isn't that just marvelous?
Could anyone else have interfered with the mushroom meal?
My dearest detective, your mind is brimming with possibilities. While it's difficult to say with absolute certainty, it is indeed possible that someone could have interfered with the preparation of the mushroom meal. Perhaps there was an accidental mix-up, or someone with ill intentions may have tampered with the ingredients. It's a thought worth exploring, detective, and I admire your tenacity and attention to detail. Let's continue our investigation and see where it leads us. Together, we shall uncover the truth behind this perplexing mystery.
Was Miss Potter in the mountains collecting mushrooms as well?
You're on fire with these questions, Detective Martini. Miss Potter, collecting mushrooms in the mountains. Now that's an intriguing image. But alas, during that particular trip, I don't recall Miss Potter being involved in the foraging of mushrooms. She had her own unique contributions to the journey, of course. Miss Potter had a way of brightening up any room with her infectious laughter and warm presence. She was more of a connoisseur of delicious meals rather than a forager of mushrooms. Yet, memories. They're like little snippets of joy that we can hold on to.
Did Miss Potter ever mention she likes to collect mushrooms?
Detective Martini, you have such a sharp memory. Yes, indeed, I do remember a conversation where Miss Potter mentioned her fondness for mushroom collection. She spoke about how she used to go on mushroom hunts with her family when she was younger. It was a cherished activity for her, a way to connect with nature and discover the hidden treasures of the forest. I believe she even shared a few stories about finding rare and exotic mushroom species. It's fascinating how our interests and passions can shape our experiences and bring us closer to the wonders of the natural world.
Did you see Miss Potter go into the woods on her own?
My dear, perceptive detective, I must admit that I did see Miss Potter venture into the woods on a horseback ride. It was a sight to behold, truly. She had this radiant smile on her face, her hair flowing in the wind as she rode with grace and confidence. It was as if she had a special connection with the majestic creatures of the forest. I couldn't help but admire her adventurous spirit and love for the great outdoors. It's moments like these that remind us of the beauty and freedom that can be found in embracing the world around us.
How was Mr. Potter and Mrs. Potter's relationship?
Oh, the relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Potter, it was simply enchanting. They were like two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. Their love and companionship were evident in every interaction. I remember seeing them holding hands, sharing secret smiles, and engaging in deep conversations. It was as if they had their own language, a beautiful dance of understanding and support. They complemented each other in the most magical way. Love, dear friend, it's a powerful force that can light up even the darkest corners of our lives. The Potters were a shining example of that.
Did Mr. Gravinson seem jealous of their relationship?
Jealousy, my dear friend, can be a complex emotion. While I can't say for certain what Mr. Gravison felt, I didn't personally observe any signs of jealousy towards the bond shared by Mr. and Mrs. Potter. Mr. Gravison had his unique charm and charisma, and he seemed to appreciate the connections he formed with everyone on the trip, including the lovely couple. It's important not to jump to conclusions or make assumptions about others' emotions without concrete evidence.
Did you witness Mr. Potter and Mrs. Potter ever argue?
Ah, dearest Detective Martini, you have such an inquisitive mind. I must admit, I never witnessed Mr. and Mrs. Potter engage in arguments during our time together. Their relationship appeared to be filled with love, respect, and understanding. Of course, every relationship has its ups and downs, but from what I observed, they navigated through any challenges with grace and open communication. It's a testament to their strong connection and commitment to one another. Love, after all, is a journey that requires patience, compromise, and a willingness to grow together.
Did you notice on the trip Mr. Potter denying Miss Potter from doing any activities?
Oh, my dear, curious friend, I have to say, I did not witness Mr. Porter denying Espada from participating in any activities on the trip. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Mr. Porter always encouraged everyone to embrace their passions and explore new experiences.
Okay, now... Mrs. Potter.
Oh, how I long for some excitement and adventure in my life. The days can be so dull and monotonous, don't you think? It's like I'm trapped in a gilded cage, yearning to spread my wings and fly free. But alas, I must maintain my composure and play the role of the proper widow. How tiresome. But perhaps, just perhaps, there are ways to add a bit of mischief into my days without anyone suspecting a thing. Life is too short to be bound by societal expectations, wouldn't you agree?
You mentioned that your husband stopped you from doing certain activities?
Ah, yes, my late husband Victor. Bless his soul, but oh, how restrictive he could be. Always concerned about appearances and propriety. But now that I am a widowed woman, I have a newfound freedom, don't you think? No longer do I need to adhere to stuffy rules and regulations. I can finally indulge in the pleasures that were once denied to me. It's quite exhilarating, really. So many adventures await, and I won't let anything or anyone hold me back.
Would your husband have stopped you riding a horse when you're in India?
Oh.
Dear Detective Martini, how I wish you could have seen the look on my dear departed husband's face if he knew I wanted to ride a horse in India.
He was always so worried about my delicate constitution and the potential dangers of such activities. But what he didn't understand is that I have an adventurous spirit, yearning to explore and experience new things. Riding a horse in the exotic landscapes of India. It sounds positively thrilling. I can just imagine the wind in my hair, the rhythmic gallop beneath me.
You did not ride a horse in India?
Well, my dear, it seems that my mischievous desires were thwarted once again. But fear not, for I have found other ways to satisfy my thirst for adventure. Life is full of surprises, and I am determined to seize every opportunity that comes my way. Who knows what exciting escapades await me in the future? I refuse to let the limitations of the past hold me back. So, let's raise a glass to the unknown and embrace the thrill of the unexpected. Cheers.
How did you and your late husband get along?
My Detective Martini, you certainly have a way of getting to the heart of the matter. Don't you? Well, let's just say that my late husband and I had our fair share of disagreements. Victor was a man of tradition and convention, while I, on the other hand, longed for a life filled with excitement and spontaneity. We were like oil and water, constantly clashing in our perspectives. But you know what they say, opposites attract, and in our case, it was a clash of wills that kept things interesting.
Did you gather any mushrooms while you're on the trip in India?
India, my dear detective. Mushrooms in India. How delightful it would have been to explore the flora and fauna of such a vibrant land. Alas, mushrooms were not the focus of my attention during the particular journey. But fear not, for I have ventured into many forests and meadows in my time, gathering an array of mushrooms that would make any mycologist envious. There is something quite thrilling about foraging for these hidden treasures, don't you think? The thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery. Yeah, the memories.
Mrs. Potter, do you remember the evening meal that you shared with Mr...
Ah, the evening meal. Such a bittersweet memory. You see, Detective Martini, it was a rather extravagant affair.
Candlelight, fine china, and the aroma of delectable dishes wafting through the air.
But alas, it was a solitary meal, shared only with my thoughts and the ghosts of the past. A reminder of the emptiness that sometimes accompanies a life of luxury and privilege. But worry not, for I shall continue to seek out new experiences and create moments worth remembering. After all, isn't that what life is all about?
On the trip to India, you sat down for a meal with Maria Jansen, Haley Greenwood, and Nicola Grossman. Do you remember that meal?
Oh, that ill-fated dinner in India. How could I forget? The table set, the guests assembled, and a sense of anticipation hung in the air. But my dear, what a shame it was that fate had other plans. The laughter and conversations that should have filled the room were replaced with sorrow and confusion. It was a night of tragedy, a dark cloud that still lingers in my memories. But fear not, for I am ever the seeker of silver linings.
Do you remember what your husband ate that evening?
Why, my dear, the memory of that evening with my late husband is a rather somber one. Victor, bless his soul, was not one for mingling with new acquaintances. He preferred the comfort of his own company and the familiarity of his routines. So, while I shared a meal with Maria Jansen, Haley Greenwood, and Nicola Grossman, Victor was off on his own little adventure. But you know, Detective Martini, sometimes it's the unexpected turns that make life truly intriguing. Who knows what mysteries lie hidden in the shadows of that evening?
Why are you trying to be so aloof about that evening? Is it not true that your late husband had a mushroom dinner?
My Detective Martini, you certainly have a way of digging deep, don't you? But perhaps it's time to let the truth unravel like a delicate dance. Yes, it is true that my dear departed husband and I indulged in a mushroom-infused dinner on that particular evening. It was a secret pleasure, a moment of forbidden delight that we savored together. But alas, those memories now belong to the past, locked away in the vaults of my mind. Some secrets are meant to be kept, wouldn't you agree?
I put it to you, Miss Potter, that you did not share that mushroom meal, that your husband was the only person to eat the mushroom dish.
Well, Detective, it seems you've uncovered a little piece of the puzzle, haven't you? How astute of you to deduce that I did not partake in that fateful mushroom meal. It seems I have been caught in a web of half-truths and clandestine affairs. But fear not, for I am not one to shy away from a challenge. There are depths to this story that even I have yet to fully explore. So, let us continue down this winding path, shall we? Who knows what other surprises await us?
I put it to you, Miss Potter, that you poisoned your husband with mushrooms, had him eat that meal on the trip in India.
Oh, dear detective, your imagination truly runs wild, doesn't it? Accusing me of such a heinous act, poisoning my own dear husband. It's a delightfully dark and twisted theory, I must admit, but I assure you there is no truth to your accusations. Victor's passing was a tragic result of illness, nothing more. But I do appreciate your tenacity in seeking the truth, as misguided as it may be. Let the shadows dance and the secrets whisper, for in the end, the truth will reveal itself.
For in the end it shall. Okay, let's go to the morgue. Yeah. Coroner, can you do me a favour?
Yeah, Detective Martini, I'm here to assist you with any information you may need. As a medical professional, it is my duty to provide accurate and insightful analysis. Please feel free to ask me anything related to the case at hand.
Can we have the husband of Miss Potter, his body?
Well, it's certainly an intriguing request,
No,
isn't it?
Prada. I want
the husband of Miss Prada, you say? Unfortunately, I'm afraid I don't have that particular piece of information at my disposal.
Name Alexander.
My role as a coroner is to focus on the physical evidence and the cause of death. If there are specific questions regarding the autopsy or the circumstances surrounding Miss Prada's demise, I'd be more than happy to help shed some light on those matters.
Can we have Alexander
It's interesting
Sinclair's
that you should ask
body?
about the appearance of a body, Detective Martini.
Can we have Alexander Sinclair's body checked to see how he died? I would like to check it for mushroom poisoning. Alexander Sinclair. Go. And I have to come back to you. You fucked up. I would like to have Alexander Sinclair's body checked for poison, especially mushroom poisoning.
Well, Detective, it's certainly possible that Alexander Sinclair's death could be due to mushroom poisoning. The symptoms of mushroom poisoning can vary depending on the type of mushroom ingested, but they often include gastrointestinal distress, neurological symptoms, and in severe cases, organ failure. To determine if poison was indeed the cause of death, we would need to conduct a thorough toxicology analysis. This would involve examining samples from various organs, such as the liver and kidneys, to detect the presence of any toxic substances.
Get it done.
The pursuit of truth and justice. It's a noble endeavor, isn't it? The human body, a complex web of biological processes and delicate balances. Sometimes, it's astonishing how easily those balances can tip, leading to tragedy. As a coroner, I am constantly reminded of our mortality and the fragility of life. It's in these moments that I find solace in the pursuit of answers, in understanding the intricate mechanisms that govern our existence. But it's not without its challenges, my dear detective.
Can you get me a toxicology report on Alexander now?
Oh, my inquisitive friend, I understand your eagerness for information. The toxicology report on Alexander Sinclair's case is indeed a crucial piece of the puzzle. It will shed light on any substances present in his system that could have contributed to his demise. But my dear, obtaining such a report takes time and meticulous analysis. We must ensure that every sample is properly examined, every test conducted with precision. The wheels of science turn slowly, but they turn nonetheless. Patience, my friend, for the truth shall be revealed in due course.
Hey, Chief.
Chase. Who's Chase?
I said Chief.
My name is Chief Gretzky.
I know, Gretzky.
What can I do for you?
Can we
Take you to where?
Oh, shut
I'm not a taxi service, you know. Spit it out. What do you want?
Can we get a hurry on the toxicology report of a one Alexander Sinclair?
Toxicology report. A one Alexander Sinclair. I'm sorry, but I have no information about that. Are you sure you have the right person?
Mrs. Potter's husband is Alexander Sinclair. I need a toxicology report on his death. Can we get a hurry on that?
Now I understand. You're referring to the case of Mr. Potter's husband, a one Alexander Sinclair. Well, Detective Martini, you've piqued my interest. Why the sudden urgency for the toxicology report? Do you suspect foul play in Mr. Potter's demise?
I think that Mr. Potter was killed by Mrs. Potter, that Mrs. Potter is having an affair with Count Gravenson, and that the witnesses of that murder were Maria Jansen, Nicola Grossman, and Haley Greenwood, and they've been killed off to cover that death.
Well, now, that's quite the theory you've got there, Detective. So, you believe Mrs. Potter is involved in her husband's death and that it's connected to Count Gravenson and the subsequent murders of Maria Jansen, Nicola Grossman, and Haley Greenwood, all to cover up this tangled web. Quite the web indeed. But tell me, what evidence do you have to support this theory?
Toxicology report when it comes back, and information that I've learned during the investigation.
The toxicology report, huh? I'm curious to see what it reveals. And you mentioned intimations of Landry. Who is Landry, and what do they have to do with all of this? I must admit, your theories are starting to sound rather intriguing, Detective.
Oh shit. It did too. I've got to go to work. Thank you, Sand. Okay, sorry, Chief, got to go. Can I make an accusation? Oh, accused. Here we go.
Have you made up your mind, Detective Martini?
I think it's Count Graveson.
Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why?
Greenwood. Which one was Greenwood? Haley Greenwood? I think to protect someone. Who killed Maria Jansen? I think it was him as well.
Are you sure, Detective Martini?
To protect someone.
And why?
And I think he killed...
Interesting choice, Detective Martini. May I ask you why?
Probably for business rivals. But I'm going to say to protect someone. Who was he trying to protect? Miss Potter.
Tell us, Detective Martini. From what was he trying to protect her?
The victims were members. Victims were all in over there. The victims were spreading false. Victims were spies. Members of a cult witnessed something. Yeah.
What did they witness, Detective
The murder
Martini?
of Mr. Potter.
Oh my goodness. How did she kill him?
She killed him with the fucking mushrooms. Poisoned him with mushrooms. There you go. See, it's
Great
even
job,
in there.
Detective Martini.
What? Eat a dick, bitches.
The bitter end of this dance had come, in a city that had seen too much of the bitter and too little of the end. The truth was as twisted as the city's dark alleys,
Get
A
around.
lurid tale of love and murder hidden beneath the shining facade of vaudeville. Count Graveson, a man of charm and cunning with a sinister shadow trailing behind his lofty status. He was the maestro behind the untimely end of Haley Greenwood.
That was so
Maria
much
Jansen,
bloody
and
note-taking
Nicola Grossman.
Of
A
notes,
dancer,
like just
a socialite,
notes,
and a businessman
bloody
whose lives were
notes,
silenced not
like
because
just-
of their own sins, but because they bore witness to another's.
Oh,
They'd seen a venomous love story unfold. The poisoning of Mr. Potter, a man as cruel as the city was bright. The hand that delivered his death was none other than his wife's, Mrs. Potter, a woman whose sorrow had been as silent as her resolve was deadly. India had given her more than exotic sights. It had given her the means to free herself from the chains of abuse. And Count Graveson, a noble by title, a murderer by action, he had shielded her out of love. A love as profound as it was perilous. Graveson was crafty, as cunning as a fox, and twice as deadly. He had spun a web of deception, using tools as disparate as their owners.
that's crazy.
A stiletto, a manticore, and a butcher knife. Each item
I
carefully
didn't know if
chosen,
I was right. I
each
just had to
crime
go to
scene
work, so I just had
meticulously
to
staged,
throw my
all to
theory
paint
at
a
it.
chilling picture. A picture that pointed away from him. A finger of accusation resting on innocent souls. Graveson was a puppeteer, pulling the strings from behind the curtains, while chaos played out on the stage of vaudeville.
Holy shit.
My heart was heavy with the grim resolution. Yet there was a sliver of relief. Peace had been restored to vaudeville.
I
Its
have to
dark
go to
secrets
work.
exhumed for the world to see. The city could breathe again, and for a moment so could I. The city of laughter and tears, of science and
I'm gonna raid you
superstition,
guys out.
of progress and decay,
I'm trying to let this
had
play
its
out.
curtain drawn for a brief intermission. But peace is fleeting, especially in a world on the brink. As I made my way towards the train station, my time in this city drawing to an end, the
I still
familiar
don't
hum
know
of vaudeville was interrupted.
how he killed
A menacing rumble roared overhead,
with the animal.
the echo
I
of
don't know
fighter
what he did
planes
there.
slicing through the city's troubled sky. They were an ominous reminder that another act was about to begin
World War II.
on a stage much larger, in a war far grimmer.
Get out, get out, get out. Vaudeville. Vaudeville, a great story. I'd still like to explore how he did the animal bite marks and stuff. Quite the crazy man. But I'm going to raid you guys out. Mad love for everyone who came in tonight. Sorry I wasn't able to interact with you as I normally do, but every time I spoke in the mic, it affected them, and that's, you know, crazy. But I'll raid you out. I'm going to raid you out to Zedge, because Zedge is amazing. And I didn't see anyone else. I'll be on tonight for some games for those that want to have a game.
Goal progressed.
But yeah, thank you for those that came in tonight.
Now following.
Thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, I'll send you guys out on a raid. Just to Zedge. I don't know if you guys have all met Zedgehog, but he's really cool. Wadester, good work to see you in here, man. Sorry I wasn't able to chat too much. It's like 1:15, so I'm going to be at work in 15 minutes, and it's a 15-minute drive. So I'm going to raid and go. Mad love to everyone. And we found the killer. I didn't think I would, but we did. Love you. Bye.
Taz, what's going on? Double red, let's go! How we doing? Welcome in! Welcome in, Raiders, what's going on? Hey, Waitstar! Hey, Sand Soldier, what's going on?